Okay, so this is John.
This is Nerd Leader.
We're back for more Last Literature 16
Yep.
XVI.
We finally thinned out the story a little bit. It seems to be literal gameplay at this point.
Alright, how are we doing?
I don't know. We literally talked so much and basically didn't look at the screen last time because activity was not required to the point where, like, I'm not sure. I think you did fight some boss you didn't fight last time we tried to do this. It was that... Oh.
We got some watchers already.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the stream. Hope you're gonna have a good time. Again, some more Final Fantasies.
I don't remember if you fought her or just something she, like, brought forth, but there was that chick with the pipe. You encountered her, right?
Yeah. Like I know things. Come on.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that's the last thing that's the last thing I remember you doing.
It was a good thing you done today, getting rid of those bastards.
Those bastards.
Come when you did.
You know what? When this goes up to YouTube later, bastards right there is what's got us demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something with YouTube now, I guess. You have to wait like 60 seconds before you can start dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, I need to get better about that.
Nah, well.
No, but it's one of those rules I'm quite aware of. It leaves my head when I'm actually streaming. Sometimes I can go like a considerable time without cussing, but like sometimes I like mess up so fast that like I just start like just a little like dance and shits and stuff like that.
Well, I'd argue like free speech or whatever, but then I remembered there is free speech on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically, free speech doesn't really extend to any
third parties.
Well, yeah, I mean, anything anyone else is putting out for you, it's like, I mean, isn't their free speech the ability to change what you've said to a certain degree, especially if you give them that right? I mean, I know it's not cool and all, but like...
whatever. You know what we're not talking about? We're not talking about this or games.
So, yeah, well, I didn't realize it the first time we watched this, just how much this guy is like the Final Fantasy version of Jon Snow. Like, I know it should have been obvious right away and all that stuff, because this is inspired by Game of Thrones, but I've really been thinking about it since then, because that's why he's the grizzled soft boy. He's like a hard boy, soft boy, like, maybe, I don't know.
Oh,
he's mushy some parts and crunchy other parts. Tastes kind of weird.
Yeah, in the last one we had him going around and handing out, like, soup to people.
Well, I mean, it's
you know like... What? Let's see Jon Snow do that.
Yeah, there you go. This guy is more of a man of the people, but... but,
I'm searching for a
like,
Gav seems to think he might have taken refuge here.
But he's definitely got that whole, like... I'm probably the nicest guy in this world, but I'm also the most jaded and grizzled at the same time, somehow. You know what I mean?
Some of the people that are watching, why don't you tell us some of your favorite Final Fantasies? And I mean the games.
Yeah.
Didn't have a chance. Thank you. I wonder if Sid's found anything.
I've been thinking a lot, like, something I've already meant to do by now, and I've been wanting to do, like, I kind of ran through it once preparing to do it before we even started doing this again, is go through 8 and actually try to get everything and stuff.
Tell me that scowl.
But I mean, I guess we are kind of aiming towards 7. Do you think I should go through that and just do 8 later before, after, like, the whole release of the second part of the remake or whatever?
I don't know. We'll discuss that. Let's see how quickly we get through some of this stuff in that time, because I don't think we're gonna need all the time that I think we're gonna have, because and this is just kind of like
why not just burn the royal
the plan, and as plans often do, they go awry. Well, we're gonna run through 16, and then we're gonna start a playthrough of like the 7 remake to kind of get prepped, hyped, whatever for Rebirth, because I'm kind of excited for Rebirth. They're bringing back a world map that's going to be supposed to be a more bigger, more explorable kind of thing. So I'm kind of excited for that.
I still say there's a % chance that it's just going to be the flashback.
Still.
You know, they would so do that. You get all the way right to the end, like well, you get all the way to Kime or Kelm or whatever it was. I don't remember. And then it's just like 20 plus hours of the flashback, and at the end it's like next time in part 3.
Yeah. you know what would be really frustrating about that with people is maybe they do it differently, but if you remember in the original game, the flashback story did not come to an end. And everyone's like, hey, wait a minute, where's the end? And Cloud's like, I don't know what happened. And they're like, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
How do you not know what happened, bro? Come on.
Yeah. But I mean, imagine that being the end of a game. And it, like you said, come back next time!
Come back for the next exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z.
You don't say.
In exchange for my floor, I shall be requiring your services.
Man.
The royalists saw
that is totally what would happen.
south when they occupied the village.
Nomura would just pull the rug out from underneath you and be like, gotcha.
Yeah. And say, at least you'll probably get to run around in the past with Sephiroth.
That'd be cool.
You know, he's one of the first times I realized, and I know I've probably encountered this in games before, but where they show you some NPC that seems super badass, but by the time you get to the level that they're at, you're actually more badass than they were in that part where they gave you that NPC. Because, like, as good as Sephiroth is, I've definitely become more powerful than by the time I'm around level 60. You know what I mean?
If we leave now, we'll arrive at the care when the shadows are at their deepest.
No more waiting.
I don't know. I'm still excited for it though, but I'm not like.
Unless
I know of another shortcut.
I do have kind of like guarded expectations because I was hoping for more from the remake other than just $60 Midgar. That kind of sucked, but at the same time, I kind of felt like they really fleshed it out a lot more, and they had a lot more going on. But, nah. It could...
that I really wonder how much or not they'll get the spotlight. Like, okay, a character that makes sense he got more screen time, but I bet some characters have gone through the game don't even know who is Johnny. But, like, do you think Priscilla, the chick you gotta give, you know, mouth-to-mouth to, and has the whole, like, she doesn't like you, and then she likes you and gives you Shiva, and, you know, that's when you're respected and calm and stuff. I have a feeling her and her grandpa and stuff like that, but maybe not, you know. I mean, we've talked about before they might not even have the scene where you give, like, you know, a little girl mouth-to-mouth on a beach. Everyone's like, no, Cloud, only you can do it. And he's like, what?
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, there's like a list of things already that are like speculated or confirmed or not going to be in it, and apparently Mr. Dolphin will not be in Rebirth.
That is going to piss a lot of people off.
That pisses me off.
I mean, I'm not happy about it, but I know people like Mr. Dolphin. That was the next thing I brought up, is like the idea of seeing this modern squall like standing on the nose of a dolphin getting put up on a platform.
Well, you know, I just...
If you want to see me fail at that part of the game. You know how many tries it takes me to get up on that little, like, sledge?
I think there has only been, like, 2 or 3 times I've done it in, like, one shot.
Ah, yeah.
Because I guess the idea is that the shadows underneath are supposed to kind of telegraph where you're going to land, but that's not what's up.
Yeah. No, I have this vague idea. It's like ground in my memory of kind of the area that I have to get to maybe do it. You know what I mean? There's this little spot. It's about like there on the map. You know what I mean? And it's like.
I don't know. Like, again, you know, some of the viewers here, like, what are you hoping? Are you going to check out Rebirth? And if you are, what are you waiting for? What are you hoping for? What are you wanting? What are you not wanting? You know. You know, some of the stuff that I do want in it is going to be in it, so I'm kind of hyped for that, because I've kind of wanted a Final Fantasy VII. Like if they were going to do a remake, I wanted a Final Fantasy VII that looked like this, but had the big open world map.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. I think people are already upset that there's going to be like fast travel and Ubisoft towers.
Ah. You know.
But you know what? I have like a 9 to 5. And I have other shit that I want to do with my life, so
well, you know,
thank God for fast travel.
That is something I've been realizing is the difference in the way a lot of people play games, especially with everyone like becoming adults around me and stuff, is that like people just don't have time for this shit anymore. A lot of the like a game I've been thinking about streaming is Digimon World 3.
Yeah.
That is one of the most grind heavy games of like the PlayStation era. Like we're talking, you know, like Dragon Quest 7 levels of grinding and shit. But even in that, you want to wait till later to grind. In Digimon, no, you just got to get there and grind.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's games like that I've played in the last few years that I've done like no fast travel runs. Like I played Skyrim like with no fast travel, and that has had its very frustrating moments. Like, oh, I walked from Windhelm to Dragon Bridge to have the game crash just outside Dragon Bridge, and I was so pissed about that. And I had considered not doing the fast travel run anymore after that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I will do this, and I persevered. I've got a no fast travel run of Skyrim on my Switch that I was doing, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, especially doing it on the go, you know. But
what kind of build is it?
I don't care who else.
I was doing a stealth build.
Ah.
That just seemed like the way to go with it. I'll tell you though, the most fun I've ever had playing Skyrim was like an illusionist archer build.
I remember that character archetype. You showed me how it worked at one point.
Yeah, it is so fun. Just like sneaking through dungeons and just dropping like rage or fury on like one of them, and then just keep doing it until they're all dead, and then just sneak up on them and so fun.
You know, in Fallout games, I tend to do a warrior with a lot of stealth, but I don't tend to do stealth in Elder Scrolls for some reason. I don't know why. But like in Fallout 3 and stuff, like one of the main ways I make characters is really good at, you know, small guns and sneaking, and they just kill everyone in VATS, and they're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I tried like a stealth build in like Fallout 4. Stealth is just broken in that game. Like it doesn't work.
Oh. You know, it's basically like that in Morrowind. It's like stealth builds would be really good in that, but it doesn't technically work.
Like it just didn't see. Like I was just trying to get like a bunch of achievements. Like I was just doing an achievement run. You know, nothing major, nothing special, nothing whatever. But
you risk your life for a handful of outcasts. If anyone ever learned what you've been doing with that property,
I lost my train of thought. I went to go do like the Prankster Returns perk where you put a grenade in somebody's pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
There was nothing I could do that made that shit work.
You know, I have never been able to get that to work. One of like my second build was built around blowing people's pants up, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah. What I had to do, I had to knock somebody out and sneak up on them while they were asleep and put it on them while they were asleep.
Oh.
That's how I eventually got the perk, or the achievement.
Have you ever done the reverse pickpocketing to change people's outfits?
No.
Something you can do in Fallout 3 is like, let's say Morio, right? Mm-hmm. You can make her dress up like a raider because if you go into someone's inventory and put armor in there that has better defense than what they have, and most people have clothes, then you leave, come back, they'll put that on, and then you can get whatever their outfit is.
Huh.
You can do that to like the kids in Little Lamplight and have their weird outfits and stuff.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Have them running around as like 4-foot-tall Enclave armor guys.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, Princess is hilarious talking to you through the armor filter. Because they all of them have the voice modulation and everything. Yeah.
Nice. That is. I love Bethesda games. No, there is nothing more jank in the universe than a Bethesda.
You know, speaking of which, one of my oddest levels, and it ended up deleting itself eventually, but it was in 3 on the PlayStation 2, or no, 3, PlayStation 3, yeah. And it, you know how, like, when you go over near the train yard, somewhere, I think it's during, like, the 3 Dog quests or whatever, there's 2 Brotherhood guys. There's, like, an older guy, like a paladin and his, like, initiate that's running around with him, right?
Yeah.
And you help him fight super mutants out of somewhere. For some reason in that game, they haunted me through the whole game. I'd be anywhere, and then I'd just see them crouch running, like, across the screen. I'd be out in the wilderness, I'd be in, like, a ghoul city, it didn't matter. They'd just be like, over there like they were still running around fighting the super mutants. It was truly strange.
You already have your orders.
Yes, my liege.
The dark swallows more of the realm with each passing day. The land starved of the ether that gives it life. And as the fringes fade, the people flock to the mother crystals, desperate
You know how you
for
can
their
tell
blessing.
this is Game of Thrones
We
inspired?
wage for possession of that
All the
blessing.
gratuitous sex that happens
It
throughout.
breaks us from within.
You know, I haven't paying that
Hastening
close
us to our
attention.
own
Have we gotten any
destruction.
flaccid penises yet?
So you do
Not yet,
must be
but
done.
they're probably coming.
I
Okay.
unite the dominants. That we may bring
Sorry,
an
that's just
end
one
to
of
the
my favorite,
strife
like, songs
and
ever.
found a new order to see us unto tomorrow.
You know, that was a joke on
The
South
world
Park too,
must
where
be
Butter
restored.
just goes on like a rampage about it. He's just like,
You might have
That's what I'm
already
talking about.
installed
Oh, okay.
some
Do you
traitors.
remember he does a whole orchestral version of it? Penis, flaccid penis,
Lust you
flaccid
still for
penis.
his
You know, and it's just,
But
yeah.
of course
I
not.
forgot
Of course,
about
did
that.
you ever see his
God, it's been
his
forever.
response to that?
I serve
He
you.
thought it was a gay joke about him, so he was like, no, I like chicks, man. Have you seen my stuff?
I remember well the day you first entered these halls.
Oh shoot!
Your pale hand pressed
You know,
into
I have a
his,
cat here
as
called
if it would
Butters,
never let
and
go.
I sing the Butters song to it.
That was a long time ago.
So when I come in from work, he'll just be sitting
Yours
like at the
only
door,
hand I need.
just like ready for pets, and I'm just like, everyone loves Butters.
Yeah. You know, somehow I've seen you do that, and somehow I didn't make the connection.
All know whose hand it is that keeps them from falling into the darkness.
Oh, and in case you didn't know, parental advisory.
Never let
Yeah,
me
I mean,
go.
it puts those warnings up when we do this, right?
It does.
Okay.
We're covered. Don't worry. They're not, but we are.
No.
One of our sentries
You
has
know,
failed to report.
Kind of looks like someone
Your orders?
like
Pull
she.
the men back
I was
inside the
thinking-
care,
I was
Carol.
wondering who she looked
He is
like.
here
She
then.
kind of looks like Sidon, but
Have
it's
them
not so
lead
much that
Sid
she
and
looks
his
like
little
Sidon. She
pet
kind of
to
looks
the
like a
chapel.
character from the
I shall
style of
entertain
Nine.
them there.
Like, look at her face.
Yeah. Yeah. She kind of looks like a
So you've come for me after all.
female design. Yeah, I could see that. You know, I was like, every time that I've seen her, I'm like, she kind of looks like another character in this series, and I just didn't. Yeah, that's it. Nail on the head.
All clear.
Does this do any showing what weapon you have and stuff? I know you have such low-end weapons right now that I probably wouldn't notice the difference, but like if you had like a fire sword, would it be okay?
Yeah. So, excuse me. There are weapons.
You'll have to teach me sometime.
There are a few weapons that have they have a very unique look, I will say.
Okay. It just, I know it might sound like an odd thing to ask at this point, but it's like you can never tell what is and isn't going to be a thing in games, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
We should start with the dungeons. They may be holding the bearers there.
Sound plan. As long as we
You know,
keep
the old
ourselves
Final
on the
Fantasy
side of the
games, you
bars.
were lucky to get any change at all on the sprite, even if they had a different weapon.
Oh yeah, well that's something I always thought was, that kind of made these games stand out to me back in the day, was that, you know, as simple as the graphics were, it did show a different sword when you went at it, you know? Of course, that which was the one where when you attacked people with a spear, instead of stabbing them, you like wielded it at them like a sword. You're like, you know what I mean?
4 did that.
Ah, okay.
Sid,
This gate.
That might be what I'm thinking of. I just, like, it's kind of like how, I can't remember which one of them did it, but one of them, whenever you shoot bows, they do that thing where it flips back and forth. That's kind of an Asian bow thing. There's actually a kind of bow they have in Japan that does that. But
Yeah.
you know, whenever they let it go doing, and I can never remember which one it was. That might be 2. But you know, there's always these little things like that that kind of make Final Fantasy stick out from the rest back then. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, as much as I like the Dragon Warrior games, you know, because that's what I played those before I played Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy always had a little better presentation.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could argue that that's basically what Dragon Warrior is. It's basically, you know, wizardry with a level of presentation. You know.
You know, actually,
Unfortunately,
Dragon Quest started out as an evolution of like a detective game.
Huh.
So like the guy that the developer, you know, like Hynix at the time, they had, I don't remember the guy's name. I can tell you, I can quote you Sakaguchi's name, and I don't remember who it was that did Dragon Quest. But anyway, they were working on like a detective like NES game, and it was literally the exact same like menu-based setup, small window. You kind of had to, you just kind of had to kind of go through like the motions with it, and they used the engine and a lot of the other stuff that they developed for that game to do the first Dragon Quest.
Huh. Have you ever played the original version of Dragon Quest? Where the like graphics aren't quite as good and stuff. For the most part, it's not different, but there's some really things that stand out, like the way your character looks, and the fact that I could really see this being a thing in a detective game is whenever you do something, you have to pick a direction to do it because you don't turn your character. There's a static, always forward sprite.
We better
Yeah.
find another one.
No, I've only ever played it on the NES. I've not played like the Famicom version or anything like that. Because I know
Well, I mean,
sometimes they would
okay.
do, well, no, because sometimes they would do like weird changes like that.
Yeah. Well, I was say I've only ever played it on some like NES emulator back in the day, but I just remember being like, wow, it's like it's exactly the same, but just different enough to really be noticeable. Yeah.
You know, here's something that's kind of funny. In the NES version of like The Legend of Zelda 2,
Okay.
the stage,
Right where the
is
royalists
it
left.
stage 7? Or is it stage 6? The one where the dragon pops up. The dragon head pops up and you gotta hit it when it pops up.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks better on the NES than it does on the disc system.
Huh.
And that's kind of like weird because like there's a number of things on like old disc system games that'll look slightly better on like the disc system than it does on the NES. Yeah. And the music will be better too, but that's just like the disc system had more like music channels.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, in the disc system version, the dragon that pops up is literally just a kind of like a static image that kind of slithers up, and then on the NES version, he's got like parts that kind of
he's one of those like made out of a bunch of balls type enemies, right?
I think they're kind of more like rectangles, but yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Just kind of an interesting kind of like, oh, that's neat, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. Yeah, I know it's been a while since we messed with it. Did you ever end up finishing Tears of the Kingdom?
I did not. I mean, I will, because I did eventually. I bought Tears of the Kingdom. Like I have the collector's edition. I bought it. I brought it home. I left work to go buy that. Because I work for a local Target, and I work for a local nursing home. And I was at the nursing home, and I looked at my boss and I said, "My store got like 7 of these in. I'm leaving right now to go get one." And they were like, okay." So that's what I did, and I had to race a guy to the back fucking counter just so I could buy it.
Oh, I'm not staying.
It was funny.
Yeah, I know. That's like sitcom level stuff, man.
Like, I was there, and there was already, like, everybody that was in that Target that morning, they were there for Tears of the Kingdom. And when they found out that there were collector's editions left, you better believe they were asking for
Yeah.
it. It was a little funny, I thought.
You know, I don't know if I've ever... Maybe I have, just without realizing it, but I don't think I've ever gotten a game on its release, you know what I mean?
You know, there have been very few games that I have just been like, no, I have to get it day one. When I played World of Warcraft, I got the expansions day one.
Oh yeah.
There was when I was into it, I was getting the expansions day one, and I was there with my guild, getting to max level as quickly as possible. A couple of Mortal Kombats I've done that with. I did it with 10 and I did it with 11. I didn't do it with 1. I've not gotten 1 yet. I will. I just haven't yet. And let's see here. I'm trying to think of other games that were just like, nah, I have to have this game. I think I got The Last of Us day 1. And I think I got Defiance day 1. And man, was that a disappointment. It was a TV show, MMO shooter thing.
So it was a shooter type of one?
Yeah.
I now when you mentioned the show, didn't like it and the game affect each other or something like that?
Sort of. It was very vague, and it wasn't like interesting. It wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be because, like, first of all, the let's see here. The game takes place in San Francisco while the show takes place in St. Louis.
Oh.
So you could have players show up on the show, and they would pay an actor to represent you on the show. And I never saw how that was supposed to like work out exactly, but it was I don't know, it was odd.
So were the equipment and stuff something that would be reasonable to have people dressed up as in the show, or like I assume like let's say like I had like one of my character I had made a character in it and stuff. Like, would they actually try to make him look like my character, or like me, or like?
I guess. I mean, I'm not 100%. Like I said, I never watched the show. I was interested in the idea. I thought it was a really neat idea. Like, I had heard about it back in its like very early stages of development, and I was like, well, that's a really cool idea to have like an MMO and a TV show kind of interact with one another.
Yeah.
But I never watched it, and
You don't say.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I never got around to watching it.
Is the game any fun?
The game was fun for a little while. It's kind of one of those things where it's only fun if you have like a large group of people to play it with. If you're playing it by yourself, it is not fun. It is just a generic cover-based shooter. It doesn't do anything all that interesting. It's just, that's just how it is. And that's, there's cover-based shooters that can be fun. Gears of War can be fun, like if that's your thing, cool. But those are games that, like, I'm not gonna say they're boring to me, but they're not. They don't hold my attention all the way to the end because they just kind of repeat the same beats for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah. The problem I always have with cover-based shooting is it ultimately feels like every fight is one of those boss fights where you have to wait for the weak point.
Yeah, and, again, I don't want to sit here and just sound like I'm shitting on Gears of War because I've played the games, I've owned the games, I've liked them. It's just, after you've consumed the game, you're kind of like, alright, well that was cool, but I'm done now. Also, I'm just not a big, like, Cliff Bleszinski fan. Unreal was fun. I like that. But he just kind of acts like everything he does is just super important. Like, he put out this post years ago on Twitter to how, like, it's wrong that developers of games don't get a portion of used game sales, and I was just like, what?
They say car dealerships don't get portions of used car sales, do they?
Well, dealerships do, but manufacturers don't.
Yeah. I meant, not dealers. I meant like Toyota doesn't,
It's not like Goodwill is handing out money to, like, manufacturers because they sell their stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's just like, I don't understand what entitles that industry to used sales when others absolutely are not. So, I think he has, like, a lot of takes that are not exactly thought out. Years ago, I watched this thing for, like, God of War 3, where they had... Well, it wasn't for God of War 3 per se. I want to say it was actually for one of, like, the handheld games was coming out. But David Jaffe, took a poke at GameStop. He's like, yeah, just remember us the next time you're trying to save $5 at GameStop. It's like, bro, I need that $5 in gas.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I like trying to support businesses that I support. I do shop at places like GameStop, and I shop at places like local music stores for my music gear, and I shop at these places and local comic shops and things like that. And I just tell these people, like, look, I like your shop. I'd kind of like you to hang around a little bit longer.
You mean,
I get it. But
I
think GameStop is...
Come back to me, Sidolphus. I need you.
How can I say
Think of all the
this
things we can create together.
judiciously?
The world
They
that
need
we
to
can
pick a
build.
plan and stick with it.
Ah.
That's kind of been a thing with them, is where they just kind of, like, We don't know what our business model is anymore. Is it ThinkGeek? Is it games? Is it, random bullshit?
Yeah.
Is it NFTs? We don't know. It changes by the hour.
This is how you speak of
Like,
him.
they were doing
Have you no
used game
shred of
sales for a little
loyalty?
while. But they stopped doing it after, like, a year.
Well,
And it was just like,
Like he uses
you can't
You know
determine
nothing
how
of me,
good or
Adolphus.
bad this plan was after just a year.
I don't know who you are anymore.
You need to do it for,
Or what
like,
you want.
2 or 3 years before
I
you
only
kind of
know
like,
what you
okay,
used to
this is
say.
what we can do.
makes you wonder what they did with the stock of games they built up to do that with.
That you just wanted to be free.
I mean, knowing them,
Free
they
of it
probably,
all.
like, took a flamethrower to
You
him.
weren't lying to
When
me,
I worked
so
for
what changed?
GameStop, they had a
What made you think
stockpile
you had
of
to
retro games
sacrifice who
sitting
you
in a
were
warehouse.
to get what you wanted?
Oh.
Sacrifice.
They have,
I use my
I don't want to say
talents
they
to
have
my
warehouses
advantage.
of
You
the
would tell me
stuff,
there is shame
but
in
they
that?
had
there's
new
no
sealed
shame,
copies
then why
of
do
retro
you feel so
games
sorry
that
for
they had
yourself?
not
A
sold,
rousing speech, Lord Commander.
just sitting in
I was a
warehouses.
fool to believe you might have
Now, they probably
changed.
don't have, like,
The only
I mean,
person
it's not
I
like
feel
they've
sorry
got,
for
like,
is you.
1,000 copies of Panzer Dragoon just sitting
No,
somewhere
no.
waiting to sell. But, I don't know, they might have a copy or two.
If
There's
you
still
would
people
stand
out there that
between
have
our
sealed
leash
copies of Panzer
and his
Dragoon
doom,
Saga. You know what that shit goes for?
then you leave me
A
no
lot!
choice.
Yeah, I remember we looked that up at one point.
Goodbye,
It was
Adolphus.
pretty extreme.
You know, I love my Saturn, and I want more games for it. I'm not paying $1,500 plus for a game.
Yeah.
I will reproduction the fuck out of things. You know, one of the reasons that they've not done like a re-release or remaster of like some Sega Saturn games is because Sega's just come out and said it. We don't have the source code anymore.
Yeah.
And Panzer Dragoon Saga is one of those games. Like they released it and they lost it. That happened with Silent Hill.
Yeah.
When they did the remaster for Silent Hill 2 for PS3, they had to rebuild the game, I think, from scratch.
There's a bit of that went on with the remaster of Final Fantasy 8. There's a lot of the files that they don't have the master files. They only have the compressed versions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that is, I know they're getting better about it, but it is one of the problems with like Japanese media is historically they're really bad about media preservation.
I used to watch a lot of wrestling when I was a kid because I grew up. I'm a Reagan kid.
Yeah.
I grew up on a steady diet of Hulk Hogan and He-Man. Buff blonde dudes.
Yeah.
But looking into it, if you follow a guy named Jim Cornette, he will talk ad nauseum about how there is literally no preservation of like territorial wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like there are people out there who have entire careers that were like their work defined the work of people later that were like huge.
Yeah.
But you can't find any of their matches because it just wasn't preserved at all. And that's kind of sad. I want to say the NPAA talks about how there's like literally 10,000 movies lost a year.
Yeah.
Like they'll just the film is just so degraded, or it's just nobody thought to preserve this stuff because it was like no one cares,
Yeah.
And it turns out, yeah, this stuff does matter, And I don't know, it just sucks.
It's funny how there's some lack of media preservation had to do with like, well, we don't want to waste resources, reuse it, but it's shocking how much of it was like, oh, we don't need this anymore, destroy it. It's like, why?
Dude, there's network television back in the day. They straight up, they would go back and they would just, to save money, what they did is they would just tape over stuff.
Ah, yeah.
Just to save film. And there was just no sense of any sort of, we need to save this, this is going to matter someday. But, you know, I don't know. There are entire TV shows that are, like, lost. There are entire movies that are lost. There are entire games that are lost. There are companies out there, they made games beginning to end, that shit'll never see the light of day. We live 20, 30 minutes from Southern Illinois University. And they were the first university in the United States to set aside hard drive space on old-ass computers for the purposes of, like, a game. Because when you're talking about literal kilobytes of space and how every bit is precious, they would regularly go through, like, universities would regularly go through and purge files.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a ton of, like, students out there that they made, like, D&D games. But they weren't preserved at all.
Oh, yeah. Just homeless.
And what they did is they would try to hide these files, like, under, like, weird names, so that they would try to get them, like, saved for a while.
Yeah.
And what they were doing is they would hide them in, like, counting folders. Because they would put them in spots where it's like, yeah, they're not going to delete this. And then they'd go through and they'd find it and delete it. But no, like, one of the first like Dungeons and Dragons computer games that disk space was saved for was like Southern Illinois University. Like I said, 20 minutes away. That's super cool that, you know, I live that close to some place that gave a shit enough about preservation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that makes preservation a harder issue to notice nowadays is just the glut of content we have access to. And it's like, well, what am I missing? It seems like I have everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair too. But I don't know. Everybody, I think if you went through the trouble to make something, I think I think it's worth the trouble to make sure that it's saved. That's just me.
That'll help.
Alright. Nerd's gonna take a step out for a minute to grab something that's on its way here. We got food coming. So you're gonna hear us eating. And that will be preserved for all time on YouTube later. Bah! It worked!
I'm sorry.
Oh, I fucking died. Oh well, we'll retry it, because that's what we're gonna do. Whoa. Whoa. Ah, damn. Thought I could parry there. Whoa! No! Damn. Yes! Yes! All right. And you know, speaking of preservation, we are uploading streams, some past broadcasts to YouTube, so definitely check out our YouTube link below. And, you know, subscribe there. So anytime you want to watch these again, or if there's something you missed, you can always, we'll always try to put something there for you.
Benedicta will be on her way to collect the dominant, if she hasn't already. You can't afford to let them leave. Remember, she has wings, you don't.
What about you?
Hold up.
Before or after I catch my breath?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the White House on. Yes, the White House on the.
Come on, Torgal.
There should be someone outside waiting for it. Grassy and Childers. You took 57 down, right? Yeah, that's. Yeah, dude, that's Google for you, man. I'll tell you. But yeah, there'll be a dude waiting for you outside. What play you got? All right, bye. Back. So I live out in the middle of nowhere, and anytime I've got to like order food out here, I cannot find my house. It's terrible. Google has like my address pinned to like a field behind my house, which I guess is technically also part of my property, but it's just exasperation, you know what I mean? this way then.
The withdrawal has been signaled. That's enough. It's over.
Yeah, it is. I am super glad that Final Fantasy games are, yes, the most important part of the day is here. Cheap pizza. Oh man.
Well, this guy had the usual problem, but then he apparently consulted normal maps, and they sent him to a church down over that way or something.
Bro, I just live in the most worst spots ever.
I'm running out of tower.
Hold on. Okay. So got all that squared away. Got this squared away. Getting food squared away.
Our lady wants us gone before sunrise.
Is there a day and night cycle in this game?
Huh?
I said, he just mentioned they want us to be done by sunrise. Is there a day and night cycle in this game?
It's over.
Don't think so. Don't remember. Asking me all the hard questions. No, I don't believe that there is.
Okay.
There is. I was trying to think. No, I don't think there is. Food is good.
Yeah.
Oh. Just okay. I stop to take a bite and I lose my damn bearings. No.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but this game doesn't have like the mini map like a lot of the 3D ones do.
Oh. No, I can't remember if that's something you can toggle on or off. No, you can't. I have to go to a map in the special screen. I forgot about that. This was a game that I got at launch. But it was just like, I didn't have time to play it.
Wow.
That's enough.
That's like gotta be like the worst thing ever. You get a game at launch and it's like, you have a life.
That is the major thing that gets in the way of video gaming.
It's over.
Oh, all kinds of games. You wanna play Dungeons and Dragons? Don't have a girlfriend.
If you wanna play Dungeons and Dragons, don't have to.
Yeah. Except for somebody who will run it for you who does have enough of a life to have the stuff.
You know, I was running with a group years ago, and I remember I picked out the idea that, hey, why don't we all like kick in some money to, you know, buy buy some of the stuff that we want to play. Everybody had like every objection under the sun to that.
Huh.
Well, okay, so some of the objections were pretty like, okay, that's a legit like concern. Like, who keeps the stuff? And like, alright, fair enough. Some of them were just like, oh, I don't want to have to pay to be in a group. And I was like, no one said that.
Yeah.
And like, I kicked out the idea of like, oh, how about we all just like kick in $5 for a pizza while we play? That got some fucking hate too. It's like, yo, bro.
Man.
I don't play with that group anymore. Although that has nothing to do with why I don't hang out with those people anymore. I did get like, you know, generally speaking, if I can understand an objection, I'm like, alright, that seems semi-legit. But when you're just throwing out dumb reasons at me, it's just like, that's not a reason. Wait a minute.
Oh, I guess I used to be so into buying the books, I had to make myself stop eventually because I wasn't like playing anymore, I wasn't running any games, I was still buying the books, and it's like, why?
Yeah. I don't know, I thought about starting to buy like previous editions that I don't have yet. Like, I don't have like anything for second edition.
That's personally my favorite edition, but just because it's the one I'm most familiar with. Although I do have to say, even objectively, I guess I say objectively I like, but you know, more like from a more outside point of view than that, I think, kind of that, like, one of the things that ends up being appealing about second edition is it's more refined than first, more free than the ones that come after.
I like third edition. I feel it's pretty free.
Well, one of the things I can always say that really makes third edition work, it's like, it has everything defined. One of my biggest complaints about the first two editions is like, well, like, what is a real animal? Because, like, you know, it turns out that it officially includes some things you wouldn't think it does.
Kicking myself dead.
I mean, that kind of makes me think of like how the earlier editions in the first two, a wyvern's just a wyvern. In third edition, they're a dragon, and when I first saw it, I was like, but the early editions were so technical on what's technically a dragon, but I was like, but then wyverns counted as nothing, so... Actually makes sense that they're a kind of dragon, but...
Remember whenever Skyrim came out and everybody flipped their shit, like, they're not dragons, they're wyverns. Like, bro, they're fantasy creatures, you can do whatever the fuck they want.
No. It's kind of 50-50 in media whether or not they have the wing hands. I mean, that's how dragons were in Dragon Slayer, right?
Don't remember. Oh god, I might want to heal. Oh god! Jesus. Dude worked me. Did you see that? He worked me good.
I guess it never seemed to me like you were that low on hit points, but like, I might have missed you dip really hard at one point.
I was nearly dead there for a second.
No?
Because I wasn't paying attention. Ah. Alright. With a mouthful of pizza, I continue my journey.
You know, I was just thinking, because I was kind of thinking about who the ultimate enemies are, and wondering, you know, if any of them have, like, monsters working for them, but I was thinking about how it's kind of varies in these games, whether it's like some kind of monster or a person who might as well be a monster, or just literal people who are the actual like enemies you gotta deal with and stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, 4. And again, I'm always going to talk about 4. I love 4. It's like back and forth between being people and monsters.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the game, you're fighting monsters because monsters have increased recently.
No.
Then it's people. Then it's monsters. Then it's people. And then it's people and monsters.
I know that there is an overarching story in it if you look at it at a distance, but I was thinking about how something Final Fantasy IV does very well is be a series of like, well, now we're doing this, but it always feel like you're in the action and doing something. It's never like, well, what the hell am I doing now? You're always doing something very specific and purposeful, even if it like doesn't always seem like it's one story that's leading something specific directly aside from beating whoever happens to be behind all of this, because for a long time you just don't know. It's just demons.
Yeah, for the first few hours it's pretty ambiguous who the villain is. And then you hit Golbez.
No.
And then it's Golbez for the rest of the game, and then Zeromus out of nowhere.
I confess I expected more from the old man. And less from you. This is the second time you've bested my sisters. Men of your talents are rare indeed. Why cast your lot with such undesirables? If it is the hearth you long for, you will find more than enough warmth under my wings.
You know exactly what I want. Hand over the dominant, and I'll leave you in peace.
You would dare to make demands of me. Know your place, little lamb.
I forgot, is this going to turn into
Fool
another
is the
kaiju
shepherd
battle?
who heeds
I
every
forgot.
bleat of the flock. And I will suffer yours no longer.
That is something I love about this game. Is that
Must I
these
spell
battles,
it out for you, Branded?
like
No one is listening.
boil down to just
No one
kaiju
at all.
battles.
I guess he told her to hand over basically the summon monster to him. It's like, is that like a literal object she has, or is it like...
No, it's a person. He thinks that there's someone that's not, that they're not real. Like that's, they don't exist. Well, they do, but you know what? We'll get to that.
Oh, it was a very Final Fantasy thing to say. Sometimes the people who donate to the most important in Square games, I don't know.
Oh, getting worked. Basically mashing like square and triangle.
Where is he? I won't ask again.
this isn't even her final form.
You pay for that.
However, she did. That sucks.
Dodge this.
Oh, he's over a boy.
Cry all you like. There's no one to save now.
Ooh, ooh. You know, I know you played this game Devil May Cry, but this fight really makes me feel it.
Too slow.
Devil May Cry. Call this one the Devil May Cry. God, I don't like that.
So I noticed there what seems to be with recoverable health and what you've been damaged. How do you recover it?
You know, it probably said that, and I just skipped over it. I'm old and I don't read.
That makes me think of there was this kid I knew. He was about like 6 or 7, you know, he was a real kid, and like he started playing Pokemon. It was one of the first games he started playing, and you know, we told him like, you know, you gotta read to know what's going on in this game. And we only said because he doesn't like to read if he doesn't have to. Or, yeah, I mean, this didn't. You know, he's probably not a kid anymore. I don't remember how long ago this was, but like, yeah, I was like, no, I can do it. I'm getting through this without reading it. And then like not even 5 minutes later, he's like, what am I supposed to do?
Read it?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like, bring back the box that you skipped that, you know, told me what you're supposed to do next. I mean, I know in Pokemon it's not that hard, but even in that, you kind of need a little bit of context sometimes, especially in the later ones for, like, you know, what you're supposed to be doing to make any progress.
Oh, I totally fucked up the timing on that.
Could have you gotten with that uppercut if you had timed it right?
Yes.
You know, bosses seem a little spongy in this, and I know that's kind of a Final Fantasy thing, and my point isn't so much that as like, it could be argued purely number-wise that 12 is like that, but it doesn't end up being because of its real-time, constant stuff happening in nature. I mean, your characters can actually do a lot of damage really fast, even if they're not doing high numbers, just through how repetitively they attack stuff, you know. Yeah. And so battles don't end up taking any longer than they would in the turn-based stuff. Kind of like stuff needs more hit points to survive any amount of real time, you know. I mean, it's kind of like if one of the old games was played out in real time, but if, you know, everything was that much faster, it's like a lot of the old games would go really quickly.
Forgive me.
Damn.
Wow. So he's not still like I guess who does he think they have? Does he think they have the like?
He thinks they have Ifrit.
Oh, I forgot. He thinks that's still like separate from him somehow.
Yeah. It's that early in the game. But it's kind of one of those things. Like that would have been a really great reveal if they hadn't blown that reveal in all of the trailers for the game.
Well, okay. Let's say that they didn't. They've already revealed that he's Ifrit.
Well, it's like ambiguous enough, I guess. Where like if you weren't paying attention or if you weren't like firing on all cylinders, you might have missed that.
I suppose.
But
so have they yet in the story? Because I honestly have been kind of like.
Yeah, we've been totally ignoring the story just to talk over it.
But have they explained what the icons are yet?
I mean, they're basically the summon monsters. That's what they're called in this one. Icons are summon monsters.
I mean, that fiery man, that was Ifrit, right?
Yeah.
So, like, is the, behemoth-looking demon only what Clive manifests it as? Or is that, like, what is... That's kind of what I mean, because, like, in Final Fantasy VI and in 10, summon monsters are humans that have been altered in some way or another.
So, is my understanding, and this is basically how I've understood the story, and if I've not understood it correctly, that's all I do here. The icons are gods who manifest them. They pick a vessel and they're like, all right, well, this is how I'm going to appear. And so that dude that you see, like, that Clive's like, that's the fire dominant. That's likely Ifrit.
Okay. So, what if the way he ends up looking like traditional Ifrit is more like just Ifrit's avatar as opposed to what he really looks like?
Well, no, I mean, that's probably how he literally looks like whenever he's like the giant kaiju thing. It's just that, well, you know how, like, Zeus appears in particular ways, and Odin appears particularly. It's a very, this is how gods are kind of thing.
Oh yeah, well, I guess part of what made me question the whole thing is the way he looked when he approached Clive.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of made some things to be look like, in question. Because there are some other games where, in 9, they're basically godlike beings in the, Eastern sense, but like, they're also kind of like in Theros or Forgotten Realms, somewhat shaped by the people's beliefs. So like Shiva looks different in different time periods depending on her religion's views of her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But in like, like in all the games, all of them, they have like various different explanations.
Damn, she was really getting you with that this time. But no, I think that's kind of like how that's how it's presented.
Sure.
Time to join your pet.
And then I guess like the brandished are just people that are blessed with like dominant powers. So they can cast magic and stuff like that, but they're not the gods themselves.
Stay down.
I don't know. I don't want to say that it's not well explained. It's not well presented.
I mean, because all your answers are kind of giving me branching questions. Like one of the first things I was thinking of. So like. I know that you were talking about before how it's kind of like a duality struggle with whatever, you're the dominance of, but like, it kind of makes me wonder what their agenda is and or like, I guess how, like, if these people are just kind of doing their own things with their power or if this is what they want, you know what I mean?
Well, I think with some of these people, they're just kind of doing their own thing because the icon pages don't care. I don't know. Like I said, there is definitely... All of my questions are definitely not being answered here. But I've also only been like maybe 20 hours into this game that's like 60, 70, 80, 100 hours long. So there'll be a point where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here. There are some things that are going to happen that I'm like, okay, I understand what's happening. I don't understand why they're happening. That kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe it's just because of the way they like to write stuff, or it's what people expect, but there's always such a, like, mystery aspect to Final Fantasy games, and it's like, why, I guess, I wonder how often it's basically to get people to replay it with context.
Probably. I mean, how many times have you replayed a game with knowing, like, what's going to happen, and it's been like, oh, okay, well that's why that makes more sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually experienced that quite a bit with games, because I can play some kind of like, I don't try to, but I always end up finding like the esoteric games. It's like, I have no idea what's going on, but
Man, she's really getting me with it, you know?
yeah.
Not this time.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, you getting those dodges on those magic attacks makes me go. Something I had forgotten about and surprised me while I was playing 7th Saga is that I forgot that both you and enemies can dodge magic. And then you like literally jump out of the way of it.
Isn't that such bullshit in that game, by the way?
Yeah. And at first I thought it was just the spell's not working, but no, there's a separate, the spell did not work. And there's a slightly different animation for it and everything. Now that the gameplay's going, this game looks fun.
It is. I don't know. Gameplay-wise, I think it's alright. I know some people are upset with it.
Really? I mean, I could understand being upset with it on principle, but like, what are any genuine complaints people have?
I think based on what some of the things that I've read, is that the ending wasn't what people were wanting out of it.
Oh.
There are some people that are like, oh, it's just generic button mashing. It's just like, bro, you played any of the other Final Fantasy games?
I've literally heard the same complaint about Final Fantasy 7, but all you have to do is button mashing.
It's like, yeah. Welcome to turn-based RPGs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Am I fucking dead? I might be dead. Bad luck. Good boy. Portal, heal me.
Angela can do it, why can't you? You know, I hadn't really thought about it. Final Fantasy's known for some pretty, like, fan favorite dogs, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, Torgal will heal you.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I am so fucking dead.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you both!
Yeah, I'm so fucking dead.
I'm sorry.
Damn it. But it'll start me there at least.
You know, those feet that she keeps attacking you with, I was like, what are they reminiscent of? But it's from other Square games. In the Mana games, there are some bosses that are huge birds that basically all it is feet that look like that. Sometimes they'll have a head come down, but like, you know, they're supposed to be so big that, you know, all you do is fight their feet around.
Ah, damn.
I guess, you know, I know there's a difference between storytelling and what would be realistic or reasonable or whatever, but I have to say sometimes when I see media like this, and there's people who are like, let's say the guy who's Titan, I'm not saying this chick doesn't count too, but like, why even be as subtle as he is about with his powers? Why not just straight up use it to go and stomp everybody and take over the world like right away? You know what I mean?
You know, that is very poorly explained in this as well.
Oh.
Like, I do not get why brandishes and dominance work for other people. If this were like the real world, if people just had these powers, they would be in charge of shit.
Yeah.
You know it. I know it. You can run away to Africa. You can't run away from the truth. Keeps touching me with that. Damn. I just suck. Ah, shit. Ah! I really hate that I'm relying so much on my fireball because it feels like no damage. It doesn't really.
Not this time.
There we go. Damn. Like, I'm dodging some of this stuff, but not dodging it quick enough. And I walked right into that. I had no.
Not this time. I'm sorry.
Fuck. I'm gonna get her though. I'm gonna get her. I'm making the right progress. The problem is I'm just not getting the dodges in. Oh.
Too slow. Not this time.
Yeah, see, I'm getting him. Oh, I was getting him in. I just bragged about getting my dodges in, and then she's like, "Nope, gotcha." How we're supposed to dodge that? I don't know. It just kind of seemed like I dodged right where she wanted me to dodge to. You know what I mean? That seemed odd. But you know, I'm not like mad at it. It's just that was clever, I guess. Said that I feel like I having to rely on the fireball more in this fight. Just brought it to my face. Did you see that?
This time.
How strong can you get the fireball?
Probably not very, because it's kind of it's like an unlimited thing. So they're not gonna let you hammer motherfuckers with that, you know. There we go. Probably wasn't that time, didn't I? Fuck yeah. Alright. I got it this time. If she gets me, it's gonna be fucking stupid. There we go. Yes. Frick yeah.
You are but a branded. How?
I'm awesome. That's how.
How did you do it? How did you even survive? How?
I don't know. I have a sword. You don't.
Benedicta. He was fighting for something he believed in.
Shut up! Why aren't you dead?
We've played your games. Now tell me where he is.
Who? What are you?
Clive?
You mean we've cast arrow now?
Yep.
It was in that moment he knew he fucked up.
Clive!
Yes.
enough of this. What?
Yeah.
She hadn't been farting at you the whole time, was she?
You know?
She's gone.
That would explain why it was always green.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Give her back! Give her back! Give her back!
My lady!
Where is she? Where is Garuda?
You know, honestly, this sort of thing really reminds me of, like, the Wheel of Time. Because stilling is a thing in that, where you, like, you cut people off from magic. And this is how they act. They're like, no, I'm addicted.
Well, you know, it's funny because it's easy to say that, you know, oh, well, they didn't need that anyway or whatever, but it's like an amoeba saying, oh, they didn't need the ability to pick stuff up.
You took it from her. How'd you do that? Fuck me. I hope the bear has found a way out. Clive, this place is ready to collapse, and I'd rather not be here when it does. If your dominant started this fire, and I'm betting he did, he'll be long gone.
Damn it all.
How does that even happen? Okay. I thought he just kind of, like, in this general fire that had been going on, he had just somehow burst into flames.
What's that?
It makes a lot more sense.
I created a diversion as commanded, Your Grace. The villagers escaped in the confusion. As should we.
Yes.
Because, you know, something that they sometimes do, sometimes don't be a factor in these games is, like, how much would it change the world if everybody could at least cast the weakest cure spell? You know, kind of like in Elder Scrolls, it's like, I know not all of them it's that easy, but let's say like in Skyrim or like, you know, most of the Final Fantasy games where, you know, so you can at least heal your cuts back together and stuff, and you know, maybe if you accidentally lacerated yourself, save yourself before you bled out, just a little bit of magic.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know,
they're just dead, you know what I mean?
Still have
I think I do.
Of course, I always think it's funny when
I can feel
the
it.
death spell causes the KO status.
Inside me. Along with the fangs.
Well, are you not keen to try it out? What could possibly go wrong?
Stay down!
don't really like Garuda. Because she pulls enemies to you instead of you going to them. And you can use like the Phoenix teleport in like certain situations. But that, you know, you're kind of stuck with that. There's no block in this game.
You know, I was going to ask that earlier and I forgot to. Because I noticed there was dodging, but I was wondering if there's blocking.
There is not blocking. There is dodging, and there is dodging.
I guess is a shield not even something you can equip?
If it is, it neglected to give me one.
Oh, no. You know, recently in Elden Ring, I came across some enemies that I'm like, I watch all these guys who would usually fight come up and fight me out. And I was surprised they were more worried about killing each other than they were me.
That was something I always loved in like Skyrim. Like bandits and bears would band together to kill you.
Yeah. It's especially funny in Bethesda games when it's one of those creature types that is officially hostile to everything, like insects and Fallout. It's like the only thing they're not hostile to is other insects, I want to say. And even then there's a little bit of hostility between like ant tribes and stuff like that, you know. And, but they also don't count for like animal friendship, you know what I mean, or whatever. But yeah, you know,
they will totally team up with bandits they've never met before in order to slay the shit out of you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always really funny in games when it's some kind of like horrific like abomination that's teaming up with like village bandits to kill you because they both happen to be next to each other, you know what I mean? I mean, to be fair though, these do seem to be Imperial weapons. Or Aegis, I guess. Whole category of dragon in Final Fantasy games. But you know, it's funny, because when you had a boss fight against one of these guys, it's one of those things that's always been odd to me in Final Fantasy games, but is very much promising thing about bosses that don't seem like they're a boss. You know what I mean? It's like I could tell by the setup when you ran into it that this is definitely a boss, but it didn't feel like a boss to me. I knew it would be like something like this where there were enemies that looked just like it, you know? And it's not just that, but it's more like the fact that it didn't feel like this would be what a boss. I don't know. You know what I mean? How Final Fantasy every now and then has those bosses. It's like, huh, this is one of the bosses?
No, I gotcha.
Not this time.
So assume that red line at the end is just an area you guys can't move out of?
I guess that's escaping.
Ah.
I remember when you first started playing these games, you probably ran from like every battle all the time. So you're like, I'm just tired of fighting stuff. And then when you get older, you're like, no, I need to fight more.
Oh yeah, I used to run. I'm not saying I absolutely never do it anymore, but I essentially don't because I found out Final Fantasy games keep track of it. And like, I don't know what I'm embarrassed about, but like, I was once I've numbered to be 0 even if it's detrimental to me because like, I mean, I think what started it was the Brave Sword and Chicken Knife, and the Brave Sword can be really strong if you never run away, but like, in like 7 it's actually beneficial to run away because it powers up Choco Buckle. Like I remember the first time I ever got that, it like wiped out the character that it hit, but like in more recent years I like, now I have to be ready for this and it hits me for 0 damage. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't run away any time, so it's multiplied by 0. Yeah. There's a lot of similar mechanics in Final Fantasy 9, like I feel like Quina has one based on frogs. Freya has one based on number of dragons she's killed, and Zidane has one based on number of successful steals, I think. It might not have to be successful steals. I know I tested it.
You know, I think that was a mini-boss.
Oh.
I think I was supposed to... yeah, okay. I guess that's what the red line was. I couldn't escape.
Oh, okay. So 2 of those guys as bosses. Interesting.
Yeah. I was kind of starting to wonder, like, why is this guy so hard? Yeah, it's okay. Lay down.
It's a little weird that played out afterwards. First, that kind of makes me think of something I've realized that video games have done to me is enjoy the sound of stuff dying. I think of how many games the most cathartic thing you can hear is particular kinds of enemies' death wails. I think, you know, Doom and Diablo can be particularly good at that, but, you know.
This way.
So, is there a problem, or are they just spring cleaning?
So if it wasn't you or him who freed the bears, who was it?
Good question. Someone who didn't have their hands full fighting a bloody harpy, I guess. But what matters is they're safe. something they wouldn't be had it not been for you, Gav.
Just doing me job, like. So, what about his dominant?
Gone. And after we were so close.
Well, I can track him.
Know that you were close.
Why would you?
Sid
Well, let's be
told us
fair
about
here.
your family.
Do you know that you were close?
Lost me onto Imperial Steel. Sometimes vengeance is the only thing that keeps you going.
Thank you.
Go safely, brothers.
I reckon he likes you.
Well, I don't like him.
Just to embarrass him, sometimes I want to tussle Clive's hair like he's a 9-year-old boy.
She's gone. She's gone.
My lady, you have to hold on. We're going to get
Gone, gone, gone. What am I going to do? Barnabas?
How long to the coastal road?
At this pace, we won't make it by sunset.
He'll know. He'll cast me out like all the others. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
My lady.
Carol.
There's a lot of really accurate axe throws in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we have here?
Fetch a good price, I reckon.
Well, we'd be doing the slavers a disservice if we didn't praise her work.
Stay away!
It's all right. They can't hurt you anymore.
Remember all those flashbacks you've had in like bright white rooms?
Come on. Let's go home.
You know, I honestly thought instead of a flashback, this was going to be one of those, like, dark bargain moments. I was thinking, you know, I think I'd be pretty good if I was some kind of, like, you know, malignant force at getting people to, in their lowest moments, to make dark bargains with me, but...
This wretched world!
So this scene I don't understand.
Isn't she doing what Clive did when he summoned Bahamut?
Basically. But if she's been cut off from it...
Is it the same one or a different one? I assumed it would be a different one, that she's going to turn into like a demon or something now. You know, is it going to be like Diablos?
Kinda. So like I said, I don't get this part. This doesn't really seem to make much sense to me.
Well,
like, if she was cut off from this thing, then how is she summoning the thing?
Well, I mean, is that like that's what I was asking? Is that Garuda or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I for some reason thought some new one would be like, you can take my power. You know.
I mean, that would be like story appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you lost one. Boy, do I get
perfect mindset to take that deal. So that's why I really thought that would happen narratively.
Yeah.
She's drawn in too much ether. She can't control it. If Garuda isn't stopped, that vortex will swallow this whole forest, and us along with it.
And I'll stop her.
You'll stop her.
I mean, maybe Clive just took all her magic points, but...
Damn it, lad. That doesn't mean you have to listen. I should have gone with Gav.
Again, sometimes things are just kind of like poorly explained.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't know if that's a Final Fantasy thing or if that's a inspired by Game of Thrones thing.
Why can't it be both?
Yeah.
knows no bounds. And that's on a good day. I don't want to know what's waiting inside that.
You know, I have no strong opinions about Game of Thrones, but I have made the mistake before of asking someone who read the books what the difference between the books and the show is. And that wasn't like a long conversation.
There are so many.
Man, did you regret that?
Well, there's a lot of it. Somehow there's more than there is with the whole Lord of the Rings adaptations.
You know, I like those movies. I love those movies. I cannot read the books. I tried. Like, when Tom Bombadil told the tree to spit out the hobbits, I was like, okay, I'm done.
You know, I recently watched something saying that what Tom Bombadil is a pre-existing to any of that stuff, like, character based on a kid's toy of his kids, and stories he'd make up about him, and he just kind of made it into the Lord of the Rings stories, since they were stories, you know, he told his kids or whatever. It'd be kind of like if Winnie the Pooh wasn't from his own books, but he was a character in like something else, you know what I mean?
You mean like it's become?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of like how he is to Kingdom Hearts or something.
We don't mention it. I know people love their Kingdom Hearts. You can love Hearts, but that shouldn't be touched.
This time.
We have to pause for technical issues. And there we go.
Sorry. I'm usually pretty good at flicking the like little thingy. I just forgot to. Gotta keep the control hard.
Flicking your thingy. That just got us demonetized.
I mean, why do they set it up like this? You're not supposed to do that with it.
I know it.
I will say Clive is a much braver man than I am. I would not just run my ass right into a tornado. Would you?
I actually considered doing that for a living at one point, but I didn't have a van.
Well, I too have seen the movie Twister.
You know, I've never actually seen the movie Twister. Just all the hype around it, and like all the people really getting into it who did see it, I was like, that does seem pretty cool. I think I will do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
just like, that was a Sandra Bullock movie, right?
No.
Who was the chick in that?
Helen Hunt.
Really? Wow.
Mad About You was still super popular. And she had just been in something else.
Wait! Clive.
I don't remember what it was.
What's that?
The Dominant.
I remember for a while thinking that she was in Jurassic Park. That's when I was a kid. Because both of those women are like
every night for the past 13 years.
Like shoulder-length, blonde-haired women that have similar voices.
I get the feeling. There's a lot of actors I used to confuse when I was a kid.
But you know, you grow, you learn.
You know, you were mentioning Mad About You, and like Paul Reiser, right? When we were watching Stranger Things, and he showed up on there, I was like, wow, holy shit, I haven't seen him in like forever. You know, and then I was like, I wonder how many people even realize it's him. What was that gangster movie he was in? It was kind of a gangster comedy, but like, he was one of the gangsters. I can't remember what it was.
I was gonna say Analyze This, but that was Billy Crystal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it like I said, in this, he was one of the gangsters. It was kind of like Analyze This, it was about their lives, you know what I mean, as opposed to their crimes, but like...
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a kind, remember, I know what you're talking about, it was like this comedy film or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So speaking of Billy Crystal, remember that Buddy Cop movie he was in?
What was that movie?
I honestly can't remember. One of the main things I remember about it is how their like life's dream was to get a boat together and stuff, and then they like did it at the end. I don't mean they did it; they like got the boat. I partially have to qualify that statement because like you might guess that they were into each other in that movie because it was so 80s that they like rollerblade around together and stuff. But no, they were just supposed to be really good buds.
Is that like Quentin Tarantino's breakdown of Top Gun?
Which I didn't know how much of a icon for that community that movie had become. You know, 'cause I think it's one of those things that like it was kind of like a bunch of bros, and then it's like, oh wait, there's a lot of like odd energy going on here.
It's like, why is this volleyball scene this long? Why is it here at all?
Well, I mean, we should account for the female gaze, but I have a feeling it was for just a different male gaze than usual. No, it is funny how if you look at things, if you look at things through the lens of queer theory, just how homoerotic a lot of old movies really were.
Where is he? Where is the dominant?
I forgot about this part of the fight.
I don't think that's the precedent required. Presenting.
It's time.
Oh, that was a good dodge.
I thought so. Ooh, got another.
Yeah. I'm like not even seeing a lot of these attacks before he does them.
Well, they're super telegraphed, but they're just kind of, I don't know.
I do realize that I'm not looking at it as though I'm playing it. I would be seeing this battle completely different if I was on the other side. That's something I try to remember when I feel the urge to backseat games, is that like you see the game just so differently. Like I could be playing something that I'm sitting there being like, don't you see all those guys around you? And I'd be playing, I don't see any around me.
Oh, that's how it is too. Whoa. There we go. Ah, damn it.
You know, I had a problem like that with someone I was fighting with my club build in Elden Ring. I did this huge combo and it just went all around me. Yeah. It's partially because the club has such short reach. Something I've been having trouble fighting with it is the Elder Tree guys. Because you gotta I basically have to aim for their legs or like their butt flap. But just the very back of it, like the kind of sides of their like clothes or bark or whatever it is, like you just can't hit it.
Yeah. Some of those fights are like
yeah.
I'll tell you what fights guys that are at the bottom of like
bottom of the tombs?
Yeah, there's tombs that you fight and find. And there's like one like right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, the dragons or whatever.
Yeah.
I killed one with the character I made to play by myself.
Yeah.
Like that one at the beginning. I had no idea that was done. I was like, well, I might as well try to fight it. I got past all these traps, and yeah, I got a seed from it. It was crazy. It was a hard fight. Something that helped was I put on the talisman that reduces fire damage, and every time he'd like get me in his mouth and like breathe a bunch of fire on me, I was actually able to survive through that. I didn't think it was making such a big difference, but when you're really getting hit by fire, it really does.
I think
The healing.
I'm just gonna have to be like super good with my dodges, and I don't see that happening. It's important to know your limitations. Oh, that was a good one though. Ooh. Oh, gotcha. Do it? If I beat her, I'm gonna be super impressed with myself. Here it comes. Oops.
He's going Shadow of the Colossus.
It's not even a +1 sword. Bitchin'.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna have to start that over.
You did really well. Well, after you did bad, you did really well.
After you sucked ass, you were great.
Which, you know, that kind of sums up my, like, playthrough of Half-Life 2. I'd always, like, find the armor places and the health places, but I would do 90% of the game, but right after I'd find them, I'd get my ass kicked and just run around super careful with, like, 10% health and stuff. And that was, like, every level basically came down to that. And I do really good when I was down to almost nothing, but until then I sucked.
That's bullshit. You can't throw that back after I cut it off.
You're nothing. A monster. And I will not let you stand in my way!
Come on, Clive. I'm sorry, but this is the best part of the game. I've been saying it, and here it is.
You know, I just realized something. Is this gonna be a game where Satan's the good guy? 'Cause it seems to be really aiming towards that the gods are bad guys, and if Ifrit is the cast aside fire dominant, that's the bad one, and the devil, and God is the bad guy. Just saying.
Is it really a Final Fantasy game if a bunch of teenagers don't kill God with the power of friendship?
Sometimes you kill esoteric concepts with the power of friendship.
I mean, that is literally the ending, by the way, to Final Fantasy IV.
Oh.
When everybody just shows up, it's like, I'm gonna give you my power.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
If you remember, 6 has a whole big speech where you get all 14 characters out there and all like, this is why I fight for friendship.
You have to sit there and, like, basically fight the tree of Kepka.
Yeah.
Yes. This is not in this game enough, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care if you hate this game or not. If you don't like this part, fuck you.
Is it me, or is Final Fantasy X had a big influence in the way it looked after that?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's definitely gone for a more bestial looks and stuff. Kind of like if they couldn't decide if, and I'm not saying this doesn't make him cool or anything, I'm just thinking, I tried to get a fix on his design, and it's like he's a cross between like Ifrit, Behemoth, and Godzilla.
Again, got you battle, bro.
Yeah.
Bam! Put that right in the face. No, seriously. Ifrit is like, yo, you are not eating enough dirt.
I've noticed all the arenas for the fights have been different so far. Does that hold true to the rest of the game?
Yeah.
So can you do the, like, sliding on your tail, like, dragon kick with Godzilla thing?
Oh, that was bullshit.
The numbers are just so high for these fights. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense.
It's
Okay.
Or if it's like, no, fuck your big rock.
See my attack from here?
Fuck you. I hope to not be a complete fuck up. Ah, that's not how I was trying to dodge. Nah. Nah. If I have to restart this fight, I'm gonna be very upset. I keep fucking up. There we go.
I don't know, sometimes she seemed to just straight up be right out of Lunge's reach. It's almost like the game set her a little too far away, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow, that was awesome. I just jumped right through that shit.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's just like you're not eating enough dirt. There's not enough minerals in the diet.
Yeah.
I've died. This is the first time I've died on this fight. This will be late for me. I did this last time I got through without dying. I'm just super lame today. You know, that's why the emails watch me die a lot. Actually, funny thing, I had the email before I had the name for the channel.
Oh. I thought I remembered you saying that. It's like I recently thought of like naming one of my streams that, but like I couldn't remember if that was us or somebody else who had that like that whole thing going on. But I guess that was us.
You suck, kids. You'll get over it. Please subscribe for more. Oh, there we go. I whacked her with my tail. Man, she's just going right down on my face. You know, it's a good thing this is not like a regular occurring thing. Because these giant kaiju will just straight, like, demolish everything.
Yeah.
What is one of the things fire needs? Air.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually thinking at one point I made an RPG where like it was using the RPG Maker system, but I had fire be good against air be good against water, and water be good against fire, and I had earth be kind of a neutral element that isn't strong at least against any of them, but like most physical weapons are earth element.
Wow, we just took the ever-living life out of her.
Yeah.
It's cool how all this damage is being done to me and it doesn't hurt.
Cool, you pulled it off, man.
I am the king. I am the champion. Yeah. Damn right I leveled up from that. I'd have been really disappointed if I didn't.
Yeah.
Explosions. It's like a Michael Bay movie up in here. Pre-Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Were there no explosions in this movie?
No. Not really.
Huh. Didn't you make a movie about an ambulance with explosions?
It is you, isn't it, Clive?
Probably.
Ah, okay.
Stop this! Now!
But you need to see it go through their brainstem. Bam.
I said stop!
think of how in at least one of the games, I want to say they refer to Ramu as a literal god, and then in that game, his attack is called Thor's Hammer.
You're too nice is your problem. Bloody mess, this.
Yeah.
You know, the graphics are good in this game, but I feel like the brown lighting and just general dinginess kind of gets in the way of them looking as good as they can. And I'm not saying that it makes them ugly, but like sometimes tricks my eye into thinking they're a little less good of renders than they are, because everything's kind of smudgy, you know. I don't know.
Chasing.
Yeah.
It was inside you all along. I'll be damned if I know what that means.
Is that his royal pin or something? Like, I didn't get a look at it to even know what it was.
Oh.
I think it's something of hers, I guess.
Ah, okay. They did show that, you know, he took care of her in the past. I was thinking, are there any of them where Ramu's a bad guy, but
why did you
I
have
think
to
it's
listen to him?
5? Where he's just a monster who runs around and kills people, but if you beat him, you know, he works for you.
This can't be what you wanted. Can it?
It is. All the way up to where she died by the hands of Ifrit. This is exactly what she wanted.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke about meanwhile elsewhere, or sometimes later, but then
then it just says it.
Yeah.
And then the game beats you to the joke, and it's just like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I bet he's dangerous.
Desperate. Will you engage him personally, Your Highness?
Of course.
This guy Alexander or something.
He's Bahamut.
Greagor's breath fill your wings.
Odin's always like, look, my no hand. You know, there's a lot of people who got instantly dead.
I was gonna say, that just indiscriminately killed this line of people.
Yeah. I always prefer it when Odin's death is a, like, I guess isn't quote-unquote instant death, but it's that severed version of it, you know what I mean? And some of them it just uses death, but whenever it's a severed version, it, like, usually works differently, so thus, you know, you can't hit things that really wouldn't be hit by death, you know?
Like in 7.
Yeah.
You know, at least in 7 too, you can't just like drop them. They'll be like, cool, let's do something else.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Because that was something in previous Final Fantasy games where Odin would come out, and if you couldn't instant kill them, he'd be like, alright, I'm out.
Yeah.
Although I will say I hated Odin.
That drop off over Steel Throne?
I just didn't like the randomness of it.
Ah.
I didn't like that I wasn't the one that was saying, yo, get in here and do this.
Yeah,
it was,
too.
alright, I'm here now.
But you know, for people who prefer Odin over Gilgamesh or whatever, or just want to make sure to have him forever, there is a strategy of playing the game where you can have him, like, at the end of the game. You just have to not have them at the part where, you know, you would otherwise transition.
Mm.
Your
I
Highness.
want to say I've done that before.
Okay.
I don't know. I've only played through 8 like 2 or 3 times.
Saboteurs.
And
Their
8
attacks
is
are
one of those
frequent and
games
widespread,
where I'm like,
even in the holy
I
capital, the capital.
like it,
What if my
but
father is radiant?
there are some things about 8 that I'm just like, I don't know that I would have done it that way. And honestly, my gripes with 8 are very similar to like 15. Like, I don't feel like there's good mage builds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that I just like, man, if there's no magic users, fuck this game. It's more just like, why are you giving me this and discouraging the shit out of me using it?
Yeah.
Stop punishing me, game.
There are a handful of spells that are worth casting in that game, partially because they're somewhere between not too hard to get and actually have a good benefit, but like I'd say that haste and protect and shell are all generally worth it.
Ultima's pretty easy to get once you find out where you can draw it from.
It's been so long since I've used the Shumi Village, I just grind out black holes now. Or not black holes,
I killed
dark matters. I know that's not how you're supposed to do it, although in my recent level I didn't do that, I used energy crystals to make it. I should get it from the Shumi though, money's so easy to get in that game once you know what to do.
Yeah.
First that trick with Garuda, then whatever the hell.
I think
that
what
other thing
really
was.
put a bad taste with that in my mouth was
Didn't know you had it
when I
in
was a
you.
kid and played it back when it came out. Oh, I paid them the like what 5,000, and they got a really bad draw, and I was like, all right, screw this.
It was me. I killed him. I killed Joshua. I killed them all.
Alright, Clive, calm the fuck down.
And I deserve to die. So end it. End it now.
You know, it's funny how calm down is so, like, a common thing that is said. When was the last time that worked?
Oh yeah, no, I've literally had to tell guys going into like the time of their life where you know they're gonna have girlfriends. It's like whatever you do, do not tell her to calm down.
I thought I'd give you
It doesn't
the
work.
benefit
It just makes it
of my
worse.
time
I
as
know that
wizard.
sounds sexist, but that really applies to everybody. But guys early on and having girlfriends
seems to
really
me-
don't
Oh no,
understand it.
I have been in that situation where someone's like, "Yo, bro, you need to calm down." Like, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because
Get dressed.
I know I'm generally,
Which is you are,
you know, a
you're not
pretty
my son.
positive-mooded guy, but when I get into a bad mood, what actually ends up pissing me off more is when people start trying to make me laugh to snap me out of it.
see
And it's
you in
like,
hell.
fuck, I don't want to laugh right now.
It's
you
like,
know?
bro.
Yeah.
It's like, you 6 feet. Let's have it. I need that social distancing right now.
Yeah.
Oh God. But you know, it's what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, like you said, you're saying, you know, it doesn't work. It's like I've never seen anyone ever be like agitated and someone be like, "Calm down," and it made it anything better. Which
It's like, yeah, it's like, no, you're right. You're right. I need to breathe.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you're like, fuck
it
you,
does
bro.
work. It does work when people tell themselves to calm down sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but
Well, no, because it's coming from you, and you're just like, well, I'm gonna listen to me.
Yeah.
But other people, no. No, fuck you, bro.
All he has to say.
Don't go making me throw you back in there now, eh? Odin and Bahama had at it.
Wait a minute. This is what I needed right here. Oh my God, dude!
Make it quick. What do you want?
This guy keeps making me think of a Skyrim character. He makes me think of like when you hit random. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to hate. It's just it always sticks with me every time I see him. I can even forget this character exists, but I see him and I'm like, oh yeah. So is most of the stuff you get equipment-wise crafting in this?
Hmm?
Is crafting where you get most of your equipment in this?
Yeah.
Huh.
No scratches, right?
You can buy stuff too, but...
You know, I really like Final Fantasy 9, but like... I'm a little too obsessed with having access to everything, and so... The synthesis stuff really ends up, like, weighing on me.
Fuck.
What?
I...
Expended resources on the wrong thing?
Yes.
Anything else?
Is there anywhere to grind that stuff? Or?
Oh, you probably, but still, it was just like, shit.
No,
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that.
Yes? What?
I know this is a little different, but you know how I was talking about mixing up controls between Dynasty Warriors and Elden Ring? When I was playing some Elden Ring earlier by myself, and I had been playing so much Heart of Darkness in a row that I tried to run using the square button, which, you know, of course drank a potion instead of running.
Finished, are you?
Man. Alright. Oh yeah, want that. But we're not going to do that. Yep. And you can see here, it looks different than the other sword I was using.
Yeah. Okay.
Clive does get like a different outfit too.
Oh.
Because like this just marks him as like a branded runaway.
Ah.
But
And what do you
in due time.
If you're gonna buy some,
But you know, talking about costume changes, something I thought would come up a lot more in 8 was your school uniform changes.
And then it did not.
Yeah, they have you do it like twice at the beginning of the game, and that's like it. Which I think is more than anything a sneaky way to have you have chosen to go to the next part of the game, you know what I mean? It's like once you suit up, you're officially on whatever mission or going to your graduation or whatever.
It'd better all be here. You'll not find a better price than that.
Do you prefer percentage healing or flat number healing?
I prefer flat numbered healing if I can augment it. Otherwise, I would rather have percentage healing.
Okay.
Like, in a lot of these games, like, there's some sort of, like, randomizer that it'll throw in there on top of your healing. And I like that, because I think that illustrates, like, my proficiency with it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's something that really bugs the crap out of me with Skyrim, is that destruction spells never get better.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I downloaded a mod that fixed that, where it would add in your skill, the percentage of your skill. It had this calculus equation that it factored in. But I was like, all right, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, I was seriously disappointed and worried for my mage build when I realized there was no scaling with magic in that. Yeah.
And you know, what was interesting about that is that I ended up using spells a lot longer than I would have normally, which is kind of like what I like.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like in Skyrim that my spells were underpowered, and I was always looking for like the next one.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think a problem Skyrim has that some of the earlier Elder Scrolls don't.
You look like it.
is it has level-based abilities, but too many enemies get past the cap to the point where like, well, because like in Morrowind, like, let's say that there's a spell that makes everyone 20, level 15 or lower run away from you.
Yeah.
That's almost everyone in the entire game.
Yeah.
Very few people are higher level than that. But like in Skyrim, eventually everyone's over level something, and thusly none of your level-based spells can work anymore.
The least you can do is poor bugger out. He's going to meet us at the King's Fort. Pack your stuff.
At least there's like a level cap on monsters, I guess, in Skyrim.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there comes a point where I want to say the cap on monsters, like NPCs, whatever, is like 40.
So that includes like bandits and stuff?
Yeah.
So is it
I
just
think it's like 40. Now, in the DLCs, because they're not expansions anymore.
Yeah.
I want to say it was increased to like 50.
Okay.
But I mean, legendary dragons are intended for like level 70 players.
Ah.
Like that's what they're intended for. So.
Come on. Gav will be waiting for us. Get your stuff together.
There's something I think when it comes to the magic it's a little bad about conveying is how much some aspects of that you can use to boost it by. Like something I didn't know until I saw a video that was talking about something and it happened to mention it. It was that like stuff like, charm people under certain level gets higher level if you dual cast it.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's easy to say, well, that should have been obvious from saying it makes it stronger. It's like, well, but they're so vague on how it makes stuff stronger. It's like, does it make it last longer? I want to say dual casting most alteration spells makes them last longer, but not all of them.
I found a really neat mod for alteration spells for Skyrim. So, I was doing like paladin builds.
Okay.
And I found one that whenever you cast a protection spell, instead of a timed effect, it cuts your pool of magic.
Oh, you mean like it hits your magic points instead of your hit points? Or?
No, so like, let's say I've got like 100 mana.
Okay.
And my protection spell costs 20 mana to cast.
Mm-hmm.
My maximum is now 80.
Ah, so until you just dispel it, it's just taking some of your stuff. Okay.
Yes, and then the mod gives you like a new spell to cast to dispel your protection spell to give you your pull back.
I had a build at one point that would have been like so helpful with it would have made her basically invincible.
It was really neat.
I mean, I guess I only say that I'm not saying that what you're talking about is broken so much as I basically made this character so like mid-maxed to specifically survive without armor that like
I think there was also some like minor tweaking to the defense spell to the protection spell so they weren't just like as powerful as they were. They weren't like they didn't cut them down a lot or anything, but I think just like tweaks, But it lasts a hell of a lot longer, so
Have you ever done that though? Like a build that doesn't use any armor and uses like the mage armor perk and stuff like that?
Yeah. What's hard about that though is that there are some armors. I want to say that there are some items that are like, well, this is really good for like a mage though.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't remember if that counts for like shield breaker.
You go on ahead and meet up with Gav.
Or what was it called?
About it.
The dwarven shield that casts like ward.
Oh yeah. Well, something an item I need to look into if affects it is that crown you can get in the maze behind Spellhold.
Oh, the one where that like you can get the extra perk.
I'm the dominant of fire.
No, this is one where like it makes all your spells cost less or something like that. It
Oh,
says
okay.
it's light armor, but I'm not sure if it actually counts as armor or not. I need to like test it. You know what I mean?
In the which one was it? I think it was the Dawn Guard DLC. There is a crown you can find, and you get like one of 3. And one of them is like no, well, I'm sorry, you get one of 3 items. Like you're given like this material to make like an item out of, and you can only make one of 3. And one of them is a crown that lets you put an extra standing stone in. Yeah, that is mage builds. That is broke with like the Atronach stone. And what else was it? There was another one. But it was awesome.
The tower is usually pretty good on mages, especially if they're Bretons.
I want to say I was using like the Wizard Stone and the Astronaut Stone, so I was getting like tons of extra experience and the return on my mana. And you know, and I thought your brother was crazy whenever he says, well, if eventually the diminished returns on that isn't all that great. I was like, lies. That 10% is always awesome. And no, he was right. The diminished returns, they eventually catch up to you.
I don't know, it's been so long since I played Skyrim in a reasonable way where I don't like super grind at the beginning just to be like, let's be done with it. I mean, I know you don't have to play that game like, you know, Oblivion, where you're mid-maxing to just stay relevant, but like, sometimes I kind of do that in Skyrim anyway.
I was playing that once. I was playing Oblivion once, and I discovered that you can level just from casting open lock on doors that are not going to ever open to that spell. And I was like, I thought I was so super clever, and then I started adventuring after leveling a whole bunch. I was like, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I need to pay attention.
You know, something I've been doing recently in Elder Scrolls games is raising my charisma early on. And it might sound odd, but it's like, it just makes so much stuff so much easier. Although it's funny, when you play Morrowind, people go from being like, yeah, it's this guy, to like, hey, it's great to meet you, and it's just kind of this switch all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
I remember the first time I played Morrowind, I got the first storekeeper to basically ban me from the store.
Oh. What'd you do?
I convinced him to take a super bad deal, and then every deal after that, he was just like, no. It had to be like super favorable to him before you would just be like, yeah.
Wow.
So I want to say that you can just basically, like, there are a couple of instances where you can basically hold their deal through. Like, if you just keep pushing it, they'll eventually take it. But then, like, you lose so much favor with them, they're just like, bro, get the fuck out. It's kind of funny.
I don't know, that is funny.
But, you know, it is semi-kind of realistic for the type of bartering system that is available to that world, you know?
Yeah.
Where eventually a shopkeeper would just be like, look, man, if I just give this to you, will you go the fuck away? I've done that before. It's like, look, if I give you this deal, will you leave? I've done that at Target where I've just been like, yo, you need to go.
Yeah. I do wonder sometimes if that's people's like strategy. It's just to be so unpleasant, people don't want to deal with them and give them what they want.
I mean, if it works.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. Don't go to stores and be assholes to get what you want. You got to go back to that store at some point. Especially if it's like a department store like Walmart or Target or someplace like that. Don't be a jerk. We remember you. I remember every unpleasant person I have ever dealt with at Target.
Can't be much further now.
And if I didn't have to deal with them people, my life would be all the better for it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, the layout of this area makes me think of like Mushroom Rock Road from Final Fantasy X. You know, that area before they did the like thing where they tried to shoot Sin with a big laser. I mean, it's very different looking. That was deserty and sandstone. This is like, you know, granite and grass.
Seriously, I want to know what kind of like drugs they were on when they were like milk scheme these giant chickens. Because that was the game where like you run into the people on the train or whatever, and they're like chunks.
Yeah.
Those are the greatest thing ever. Like, I don't know, bro.
Chocobo power? Who doesn't know about Chocobo power?
That's enough.
I want a giant chicken to ride on.
Let me through.
Yo.
Hard it would be to breed blonde emus.
Good question.
Stop square and be like, I think I have something you want.
You know what I want, Square. Ah.
You're saying you never ended up playing Crystal Chronicles, right?
No, I did not. My brother had it, but he got that after he like moved out. So it was kind of like, okay. Like the first time I played Wind Waker was at his new place when he left, and I remember just being like, I don't want to play this. It's all cartoony looking. Because that was like the prevailing opinion at the time of that one. But, Wind Waker was one of those games, like, I played it for like an hour and I stopped seeing the cell shading.
Stopped what?
I stopped seeing the cell shading.
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the first games. I don't know if it was the first one. One of the first ones, the one I really noticed it in, that had the whole, like, dynamic music or whatever. Not only based on whether or not you're in battle, but what actions were going on. It's like, dun, dun, dun.
That'll help.
I liked Wind Waker, but really? Pro Triforce Fisher? I want to find my Triforce at the end of dungeons, not at the end of my fishing rod. Or my weird grapple thing.
It is an odd choice. Which it's funny that they basically made a main quest where you have to grind in a Zelda game, because not only do you have to grind, find all of the fish so that you can get the maps, and you have to grind out money so that Tingle will translate the maps.
I hated that whole part of the game. Like, when I got to that part, I stopped playing it for, like, literally years. I only came back to it because, I kid you not, I was going through some old boxes, and I found my sister's old, memory card for her GameCube. I didn't know I had it.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there like, heck yeah. And I was playing some games, and I found my save from Zelda on there, and I decided I'm just gonna beat it. I hear the ending's super awesome, and it's like it is one of the better like endings to a Zelda game, because it kind of honestly it sort of paints Link as the villain.
Oh.
But because like Ganon's trying to like raise Hyrule. I mean, he's doing it for straight nefarious purposes, but Link and Zelda are like, no, everything's got to stay where it is.
That's one of the few ones to get a direct sequel in Spirit Tracks, right?
Yep. There's only been a handful of Zelda games that have ever gotten sequels. Link's, the first one, which got Link's Signature. Breath of the Wild, which got Tears of the Kingdom. And Wind Waker, which got Spirit Tracks. And Phantom Hourglass.
This is Majora's Mask, it's a sequel to Ocarina of Time, right?
That's really more like an expansion. So it feels more like an add-on than like when you play it, it's just that's what it feels like to me. It doesn't really feel like a sequel.
Okay.
But that I could be my bias.
What? The Imperials are on his tail. We have to get to him before they do.
Understood. I'm here to even the odds. Any objections? I'll take the dragon. Take the dragoon.
Oh, it's a good thing he's picking the dragons so that I can target him. Oh my god. And I got worked.
Die, you bastard!
Motherfucker.
Sorry, lad. Don't know how much help I'm gonna be here. Alright. One down, one to go.
Yeah, I just killed a god, but this guy's giving me trouble.
There's a good boy.
Oh, goodness. And I'm working it.
Not this time.
Oh, I thought I got the dodge in. I did not. Ooh, another time where I thought I got the dodge in.
When could these bastards fly? But what goes up must come down.
Oh, you couldn't have done that from the start, you fucker.
Bloody time waster. Come on, let's finish him off.
There we go. Not a fuck you, Slane. Dropping a lot of F-bombs in here tonight. Get ready for some more.
Come on.
Yo, save gas.
Shit!
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
He just rolls up and just bops him.
Clive! Give me your hand! Help me!
I'm trying, reach.
Help me! Help me, Clive!
I've got you.
Clive just needed the motivation to reach further down. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it makes you think, if you ever see the comic where it's a guy, you see it from behind a guy and he's reaching down to someone over the side of a cliff and he's like, reach my hand, and the guy does this like, I can't, you're too high, and he's like, what? All stoned looking.
There. Clive doesn't have your nose, I said. He'd stumble off a cliff, I said.
That's the trouble with a nose like mine. Can't help sticking it where it's not wanted. But if it wasn't for you two, my sniffing days would be over. Thank you.
So many euphemisms.
So, what news?
Well, found out where your friend's heading for one thing.
Gav,
Him and his mate are on their way to your old stomping ground, Rosaria. You should have seen what they did to the Imperials who tried to stop them. There's no question about it. He's a dominant fire, all right.
He can't be.
Clive, I saw you turn into an icon before my very eyes. And yes, there's a good chance it was you who killed the Phoenix. But we weren't alone, were we? There was the fellow you saw enter the whirlwind. Aye. I saw him too. You didn't dream it, Clive. He's out there.
But who is he?
How many dominants of this one element are there?
But I do know one thing. You're gonna find him and find out. After all, you swore an oath.
What?
You swore you'd avenge your brother's death. That you'd never rest until you'd hunted down the man responsible. So, find out if this man's responsible and kill yourself if he's not.
Sid, I...
Don't thank me. Thank Gav.
Thank you, Gav.
Yeah, well.
This year.
The Deadlands have swallowed their roosts, like as not. We're running out of time.
We'll be in Rosaria in a day or two.
Back to where it all began.
With a twist.
He must be stopped.
Yeah, it's funny because he looks so different that without context clues from earlier, I wouldn't have known who he was. I was kind of expecting that reveal after I saw him murder a guy with fire, but... No, I'm serious though. Like, the only reason I knew who that was is I already kind of put it together. I was like, that makes it definitely him with the hair color and stuff. But you know what I mean about hair? He looks almost a little too different.
Yeah.
So, have you gotten far enough to know what the deal is with this, like, blight that's killing everything?
Yeah, actually.
Clive!
Spoilers.
Friend.
It's magic.
She's awake.
Oh.
It's like,
Right.
Is it kind of like the whole Mako effect, where doing what they're doing is eating up everything?
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, I genuinely wonder sometimes if we'll ever get to a truly endlessly sustainable situation, because it's like becoming a post-scarcity society sounds good, but it almost seems to go against the laws of physics.
All in good
It's
time.
like you kind of have. I'm not saying we should do the wanton destruction of the environment that we do, but there's a certain amount of consumption and waste that just has to exist as long as a life form exists. You know what I mean? And,
you know, like, as weird as this is, I've listened. I listened to like some stuff from Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he talks about that sort of thing, where he talks about, like, you know, basically there's going to be mining operations in space.
Yeah.
Something interesting he pointed out is that it is cheaper to keep water that you find in space instead of bringing it back to Earth.
Ah.
So, like, if you found like a comet of pure ice, like pure clean ice, and you turned it into water, you would make more money selling it to NASA's space. You'd make more money selling it to NASA on their space stations than you would anything else. And you would absolutely lose money. He talks about how it's like not cost effective to turn Earth's oceans into like fresh water.
Yeah. I know desalinization has always been a dream, but it's yet to be efficient enough to be worth it.
And he's like, one day it will be, though.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because he talks about like flat screen TVs. Like he equates it to that. He's like, you know, when they first came out, they were like $10,000+.
Fighting for them.
Now they're an impulse buy at, you know, Walmart.
Yeah.
The Iron Blood.
Well, that's a good point.
Not long
You gotta be
after
there,
the
smart
news
guy.
arrived.
Well, you know, I do wonder how long until, like, the
Rosaria
asteroid belts
had
are
lost her
basically just
leaders.
fine,
The
unusable
duchy
dust.
was in chaos. The Iron Kingdom
All of it's
saw
been
our
put into
weakness and
space
pounced
stations
upon
and
it.
stuff.
Well,
killed
we'll
the
never
men.
know.
Yeah.
And captured the women.
And took you back to Ironhome.
I thought they meant to have their fun with me before the end. But the end never came. My powers awoke, and everything changed. It all happened so fast.
Man,
We were told that
Rosaria
the
had the
Iron
fire
Blood had
and ice
captured a
dominant
dominant
right under their
and planned to bring
nose.
her on their latest crusade.
Had 2 fire dominants.
Yeah.
They gave me a choice.
What are the odds?
See my countrywomen slaughtered.
And they call us dominant.
What?
The sadness in his eyes really made him look like Squall there.
I killed Joshua.
No. That's
You
not
know,
true.
having played it a couple
know
times,
you wouldn't do
recently I
that.
realized there's only one time that Squall smiles in that entire game, and it's like at the very end of the game,
changed
and
into
like
him
the
again.
post-credit scene.
Not long ago. The second icon of
You know, when
fire.
they did the HD remaster
One
of that game,
responsible.
they, like, Square Enix leaned heavy into, like, the memes on that game
Oh.
that had been around for years.
Night.
You know, like, you're the most handsome man at the party, and then you zoom in on his face, it is the ugliest thing ever. And in, like, the ad
The hooded man.
that announced the game,
spoke
you
to
know,
me.
it's Renault, and she rolls up on Squall and says that to him, and then it, like, zooms in on his face,
say?
and it's all, like, high-definition textures. I thought that was pretty clever.
Found you. What did he mean?
Clive, we should go back there, to Phoenix Gate. I
Why?
need to know what really happened, and so
Do
you.
you?
You need to know for certain.
I will go
And
in
if
there
what
and
you
let them
told me
find out.
is true, and you did what you said you did.
You know, I mean, like, I know they will because it's just a video
Then
game
we
and a
will
written
face it
story, but
together.
Jill, I... All right.
You'll be needing a change of clothes then. Out you go, your lordship. We wouldn't want you getting overexcited.
What?
Sorry.
I'll see
maybe
you
she's
soon,
boner-phobic.
Clive.
That's demonetization.
We've a long journey ahead of us.
That's gonna be our first shirt. Nah, it just got us demonetized.
Let's get this fixed before we're looking at half a dozen.
You know, there'll be a point where there might be some merch for sale, and I'm putting that in my back pocket.
What do you want?
To say farewell. We're leaving.
Good decision. Better that than buried out there in the black. You've got a lot to thank that girl for, you know.
I know. And I will.
Now, what do you really want? We both know you don't come here for conversation.
With you, God, no.
You're rubbing me blind, you know.
Good.
better I'll be here. You're rubbing me blind, you know. I'll be thankful you got that much.
Gill bag.
I reckon I can find a buyer.
You think you can find a buyer for a bag full of money?
Yeah. Makes me think of a weird dream I had when I was a kid, where there was a place called the Money Store where you could literally buy more money than you had.
I'm going to assume that it's something to do with some asinine thing your parents said to you.
No, I think it actually had to do with around the time there was a commercial for a like. Do you remember the commercials for the Money Store?
Oh yeah.
I think that somehow got into my dreams and became a real physical place where they had money like hanging on racks and stuff, and you could go in and buy it. And I was like, this has got to be a scam, but I'm gonna try it anyway. But
Well, what do you want?
Well, fine. I'll just do it that way then.
My best work.
I hate everything.
But you know what that is, right?
Anything
That's what have you found check. It's like, can you get the +2? We'll see.
Well, no, because I just bought it.
Oh, you did?
And then I crafted the +1 so that I could craft the +2.
Ah, okay.
This game got me pretty good there. Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got a shit ton of these. Wow, I have been banking all of this in speed of the game. This is why this game has been a little harder than it should be.
You know, I had the same problem the first time I went to Final Fantasy 12. I was like, I don't need to worry about augments.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I love it when games remind me, you do need to know how to play.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I about mastered all of that in one go. Mastered a few things here. Mastered something there. So, yeah. Now I'm super powered.
You know, something that there is in a lot of games a little bit nowadays that's kind of gives people the bad feeling about incremental growth is all the equipment and you know, perks and stuff like that that raise you by a very small amount, but I noticed some older games, and I'm not saying no new games can, but like sometimes there are games where like that really does help because the game's set up to where, you know, when you get 5% more, that pushes you into like one less hit against enemies, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And when it's like that, it really works. It just in so many games, it's like no matter how much you boost yourself, you never really feel it.
I am once again in need of a pair of hands to deliver sustenance.
Of course, that makes me think of Sometimes bonuses you can put on yourself you can become overly dependent on. In that club build I've been playing in Elden Ring, situationally I'll change my amulet, but usually I have the green turtle amulet on, and it's it increases my stamina regeneration so much it's almost a crutch at this point.
You'll find one by the entrance, another in the bunks, and the other guarding the cells. Thank you once again, Clive.
That's a big sword.
Yeah.
We just don't have enough teams to follow every lead.
Back so soon? Fancied another kip in the cells, did you?
Kenneth sent me. He thought you might be hungry.
I had this bowl in my pocket.
The way my gut's been growling, I'd have curls running scared.
You know, I don't know if I would eat some soup that was in someone's pocket.
But sometimes folk need locking up, and someone has to watch over them. I help people sleep at night, and that's not a boast many can make. You keep yourself on the right side of these bars now, you hear me?
Fancy a mug of Kenneth.
So your mind's made up, is it?
We'll be leaving for Rosaria as soon as we're able.
Back down memory lane, eh? Rosaria ain't what she used to be, Clive. Not since the Imperials moved in. First sign of trouble, you make straight for Martha's Rest and ask for the landlady. She's a friend of the cause.
We're probably the
Tell her
only
you
people
was
on this
Sid,
stream that
and she'll
get
help you
that
out.
reference.
No.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Wow,
Gav.
I'd rather be
I'd be
irrelevant
lost
to
without
that.
you.
Oh, man.
I'm just doing my job. No need to make such a fuss. You take care, alright? Oh, I'm crap at goodbyes. Where's Sid when you need him?
Give him my regards when he gets back.
I will.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Ready?
Yeah, she looks like a party member.
Ready.
Oh shit, I hadn't finished that side quest yet. Damn it.
When was the last time you saved?
Nah, I mean, you come back. So it's, you know.
Okay.
Or, you know what? Can I? Yes! Just go back now. Hey, remember when I said I was leaving?
I genuinely still feel awkward sometimes doing this shit in games.
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
Let's get this fixed before someone does themselves a mischief.
Oh, what I wouldn't give for some wild mickleberries.
Can I help you?
Kenneth sent me.
You wanted me to bring you soup from my pocket.
Yep.
Ah, wonderful. Do you
Yes,
hear that?
pocket soup is
Our
wonderful.
food has arrived. Does your appetite still elude you?
Is he sick?
I'm afraid so. Those no longer in need of a physicus immediate ministrations are sent here for further rest. I tend to those who cannot tend to themselves, which leaves me very little time for anything else.
Oh, so you're a
Happily,
nurse.
Kenneth sees that I stay fed. I would be lost without the kindness of good people like him. and yourself. Thank
The
you.
question is he a CNA, an LPN, or an RN?
I have a feeling he's more on the leech side of things.
You! Newcomer! I need help.
What's the matter?
It's my assistant. She left to gather soil, and I've seen nothing of her since. I cannot concentrate one whit for fear of what might have happened. Please, I beg of you, will you go and check? I have to know.
All right, I'll go.
I was going anyway.
Thank you. You'll be rewarded for your time, of course.
Whereabouts is she?
Gotan's Bales. It's on the outskirts of Lostwig. Not the safest place for an unaccompanied bearer, perhaps, but the soil there is second to none. Now go, and do not linger. Why, it may already be too late.
Okay, well, let me finish this other side quest before I go save someone's life. You know, that was something in, like, World of Warcraft that would always kind of get me, how they would sit there and you'd go into town and you'd pick up all of your quests for that area, and they would all just be like these, "You've got to save the world!" That's just like, alright man, but I've got like these 4 other quests where I've got to like kill like 5 boars.
That does always make me like wonder at games where like,
Something smells good. For me, I hope.
You know, there's all these extra literal gotta end the world quests, but it's not necessarily dressed canonically. It's all in like the side quests. It's like, so if you don't do any of that, does the world
These
come to
birds
an
are
end
needy
anyway?
creatures.
Or?
They don't like me running after the fat chocobo behind their backs.
They must keep you busy.
There's something I've wondered is, if you don't kill them, do you think the weapons just go back to sleep in Final Fantasy VII after you get rid of the threat to the planet, or?
They've got little darlings like these to
Presumably.
Anyway, thanks.
Well, I mean, that was the whole point of them, right?
Yeah.
So, if there's no threat, what the fuck they're there for? And, like, also, if there's this thing that's supposed to, like, save the world or help protect the world, why are you killing it?
Yeah. Well, the one you have to kill, it's because it's going to kill a bunch of innocent people, but...
But even you don't kill it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, actually...
That big fucking cannon does.
The 2 necessary ones are killed by Shinra, aren't they?
Ah, you're back. All done? Wonderful. Here, your reward, as promised.
I remember, like, watching the scene where they blast Diamond Weapon and just being like, that is so cool.
A fact we are proud of, believe me. I'm glad you've witnessed it.
Of course, I remember going to see Final Fantasy Spirits Within in theaters. That's how old I am. And there was a scene towards the end of the movie where they go to this crater and there's like this vortex thing going around, and I'm like, that's just a re-render from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Still want to know what they were thinking with that movie, and it's like, that's one of those movies that I feel like would be a cult classic if it wasn't so tied to a property already, you know what I mean?
That movie would be hailed as fucking brilliant if it did not have the name Final Fantasy attached to it.
Yeah.
It fucking would be, and fight me on it. It's the same thing with the Super Mario Brothers movie, the fucking 90s one. That movie would be hailed as brilliant if it wasn't called Super Mario Brothers. If the fucking plot was literally everybody was named something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's like, this is so topical and poignant. Like, no, it's not. Although, you know what it would be? If it was called something else, people would just be like, just the Mario Brothers movie.
Somewhere between the Mario Brothers movies and Hook, the Mario Brother movie and Hook, like, kind of epitomizes the craziness of the 90s to me.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab something.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Rosaria. It's been 13 years.
But this breeze, the smell of the grass, it's just as I remember it.
You haven't been back either.
I couldn't. Rand did keep a close watch on each other in the Imperial Army. You'd get beheaded just for knowing a deserter. The only way out was on a mission.
I see.
Anything important?
Just reminiscing of him explaining why he never came back to Rosaria.
But mostly I was afraid. Afraid to go back.
I know.
But I'm here now.
That's right. I'm here now.
Thanks to
It's a big fucking sword. She's got this metal stick.
To be fair, for a rapier, it's quite large.
Well, it is a Japanese game.
Yeah.
We should press on. That inn at the top of the hill must be Martha's Rest. Gav said the landlady's a friend.
But can we say the same for her patrons?
Imperials don't tend to take well to those with my mark. If anyone asks, I'm a branded soldier, sworn to protect my noble mistress.
Yo, you don't like me, but I want to talk to you.
Explains why there's a premium on Imperials. Maybe I should up your rations, build you up a bit.
So I think this is the point of the game where it kind of starts you letting more free roaming.
Oh.
I don't know what this is, but we're gonna fight it.
Not this time. Too slow.
Yeah. Damn, look at that damage.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not this time.
Ooh. Damn. So this is the part of the stream where we're just gonna spend like several days grinding.
How high level do you think you want to get at this point?
I don't know. I don't even know how serious I was about that.
After what happened
Combat's
at
fun.
Phoenix Gate, it didn't seem the highest priority.
Oh my god. Oh, hey, here's an item. Nice. Nice. You're mine.
Goblins. My first mission.
Ah, that was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty good little combo I did there.
Yeah.
Oh, my face.
That's right, what's the crap?
Isn't that what you're supposed to do in a fight? Oh.
Yeah, this seems really good about the contextual canned animations for dodging and stuff. That makes it pretty
cool. Yeah. That's all the experience I got for that? Forget you, game. Forget you. Thought we had something here, game. Oh well.
I know it's a video game and stuff, but sometimes I question why enemies have bits of themselves in treasure boxes.
Well, how else are you supposed to get these crafting materials?
Yeah.
You just gotta think, man.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you just leave bits and pieces of yourself in a fucking box in case just some random adventure comes on? It's like, oh shit, man, I need that.
Yes, but I'm not a healthy individual. Whoa.
Oh my god.
I think that's a joke, but when I was a kid I watched too much Sam and Max and emulated Max's collection of toenails and like hair.
Don't tell me things like that, man.
No. My mom put a stop to that as soon as she found out about it. She's like, this is not okay. Stop watching that cartoon.
Just when I thought my luck had changed. Still,
better a crumb of crystal than an empty hand, I suppose. Though it pains me to use another man's branded. Here, you understand me, don't you? I need your help. These blasted birds must have caught a whiff of my cargo, and now they've got me surrounded. No, it's really late as it was. I've got something special needs delivering before the rest, but I dare not leave my cart untended. You couldn't run it up to Martha's Rest for me, could you? Needs to get there quick, mind.
Fine.
That's the spirit. All right. Here. You hand that to the stable master and no one else. I'm owed a little something for it. If he gives it to you, pass it along to your master by way of thanks. Be off with you then, and don't go taking any detours on the way.
Oh, I'm taking a ton of detours on the way. Don't be a dick, bro.
You know, these chocobos being a problem made me think of how I think the only two games where you fight chocobos are Tactics and 12. And I know 12 is based off of Tactics, but like
you kind of fight them in 7.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah.
Kind of. Like right there in front of that guy, I just do this big detour to fight these monsters.
Stay down.
You know, something I was thinking is something I've tended to do when I make RPG Maker 3 games is use one of the land types, usually something like dirt or something, to make roads where there are no encounters. And I kind of wonder if, like, does that kind of somewhat fall under the overconvenience of quick travel to have, like, a way to get across the map with no encounters? Like, I know it's not literal quick traveling, but, like, I wonder if that would face the same kind of scrutiny.
You know what things like that are? The representation of stealth. There you go. You justified it.
Part of the reason I always did it is because, like, I've always, as much as I like Skyrim, I always thought it was silly how, like, all the roads are blocked by bandits and stuff to the point where nothing can really get around, and what it turns out NPCs do is just take these silly paths around all of it, no one ever taking the roads, and I'm like, a society can't function like this. If the roads are either clear or they're not.
You know, my first playthrough of Oblivion, I did a lot of fast traveling, and I regret the shit out of that. Because whenever I would play it again and I would do like little or no fast traveling, I would run into like all sorts of kind of like, I don't know, not like super important encounters or anything, just like, oh, well, that was neat that that happened.
You know,
like there's early on in the game, there's like a tower that you walk through, and when you walk through it, a bandit just kind of jumps out from like around the door, and he's like, "Gotcha!" And it's like, "Ha! That's totally how it would be too."
Yeah. Well, I used to say, I've only had one level in Oblivion where I got to the point of having Daedric armor, and I didn't get it from a bandit. Because like, that's one of the handy things about, you know, going by on foot is you gotta run across bandits and they're always gonna have whatever's the level appropriate gear and stuff. You got a good way to get glass if you get high enough level. But you know, I've seen the justification for ebony making sense, but I still don't understand glass. Especially since it's one of the lighter substances.
Because it's made of malachite. No. Is it called malachite? It's called something. It's not actually made of glass.
Oh, okay.
It's just called that for reasons.
Stay down.
I did that at the same time. Hey, bandit.
Throw your weapons down if you want to live.
It's over.
Aha!
And he turned around on him so fast, I thought it was her turning around on him for a second.
That's enough.
That's right, kids. Clive will stomp you.
I just kicked your ass because Stone Clive said so. Goodness. Oh my goodness. Just trying to get up these hills. Clive is getting his steps in today.
Yeah.
Alright, now that I've basically murdered everything on the map.
What's the chick's name? Jill?
Yes.
I just think it's kind of, and I understand why, but I just kind of think it's funny how she's like, well, I guess we're doing this to start branding these dragon and gazelles.
You know, it's like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. It's just the mass hypnosis from the main character. Oh man.
Here's a question for you. You said you fought bombs in this, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Are they weak to ice, water, or both?
You know, as someone that doesn't have either of those abilities, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
And it's hard to gauge how powerful her attacks are sometimes. Or how effective her attacks are sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I can't deny that they're helpful, but sometimes it's not always easy to tell how helpful.
Yeah.
Yes, another one of these things.
You just like fighting them, or do they drop something good?
It's big and I want to fight it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I understand that. It's part of the reason I asked. You know, at some point, something I need to do, I guess need is a very strong word, but I would like to do, let's go through each Final Fantasy game, see what all the enemies are, and what are the new ones introduced in each game. I kind of wonder if there are any that have no unique monsters.
Oh, shit. Yeah. All right. But it. Fuck you, game. Fuck you. Oh wait. I think this is what I was trying to get to. Okay, we're all good, game.
These guys were kind of what made me start asking about elemental stuff, because they're called clay claws, so I assumed they're elemental creatures, but...
Yeah. You know what they say about assuming?
Yeah.
Nothing, just that idiotic phrase.
Ah. Well, you know, the funny thing about... I'm not saying it could never be true, but one of the funny thing about that is, like, how much existence is made out of assumptions.
Hmm.
Good girl. You get some rest.
Are you the stable master?
I mean, it's kind of like the, you know, never judge a book by its cover, and it's like... Well, I get where you're going with that, but, like... There's a certain amount of that being prudent in life, even when it comes literally to books.
What some bearer's doing bringing it to me, though. Where's that fool of a peddler got to?
He couldn't come himself. His cart's surrounded by wild chocobos.
Huh. Sounds about right. Have it full of Gizal greens, no doubt. Crammed with them, if I know him.
Gizal greens?
Chocobos go mad for them, don't they? And if you forget to seal the cart up tight, the smell gets out, and birds come running from miles around. Don't get me wrong. They're a fine investment for a savvy merchant, especially around these parts. But you can't get greedy, as our mutual friend is learning the hard way. Still, I got my wares, and that's all that matters. Be sure to pass your master my regards.
What a bird wants.
Kind of feels like you level up kind of fast in this game, but I don't know how true that really is.
It is not. I don't know. I don't think it doesn't really seem like it's as steady as like other games. But it does happen often enough, you know?
Yeah.
So we're gonna stick with that. Alright.
I didn't notice that little like pixelated version of your characters down in the corner.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Damn. Alright.
You barely have to step out.
I wonder if Martha is as friendly as Gav claims.
Let's go and find out, shall we?
Leave him in the pile.
You know, I was thinking when I came into town I met someone, but I guess that happens later?
This isn't the first time I've seen one of these. Perhaps I can use them as waymarks.
Well, there you go.
It was good, honest work building the aqueduct. I won't get proper.
Excuse me. Would you happen to be the landlady?
Depends who's asking, and why they have an Imperial bearer with them.
For protection, which hopefully won't be needed. If you can advise me on the safest route to the west.
It's your friend here I'd be worried about. Bearers don't have an easy time of it in Rose area. Even a strapping lad like him might attract the wrong kind of attention. And if he gets nabbed, it ain't likely to end well for you either.
Then we'll just have to stay out of the malicious way. Gav said he might be able to help us.
Follow me.
I think Clive should have said that louder. That's what I think.
Sorry for before. Can't be too wary of strangers asking questions in our game. I'm Martha, an old friend of Sid's. He said he had high hopes for a bearer who joined recently. I expect that's you. So, where is it you're headed?
Why did you say that name?
We have questions that need answering.
Why?
Is that so? Well, if you want to avoid the garrison...
Of course, you know, I saw a
the
video
artillery
recently
school should
talking
best
about the Snyderverse and
bridge had collapsed.
his theory on it, and I can't refute it necessarily because the signs are there, but he was basically saying if the movies had kept going, that,
But he went out on another job.
it was really, the first few movies weren't how the heroes were going to end up being, it was more like the bad point they started at, and they were all becoming more heroic and would have been the versions of the characters we wanted them to be if it had kept going, and it's like, I see the signs of what he's talking about in the movies, like Batman's change of heart and all that stuff, but I'm also a little cynical because Snyder's so cynical that I don't think he'd ever bring it to that point, but I could be wrong, you know?
I think he would. But if you look...
you said that he went out
if you look at some of his other works, that's
He went
not
down into the marshes to check on another
generally
bridge,
not his
one by
MO.
the Fallen Gate.
That would have been a very interesting
We should hurry.
take on that idea, because it's kind of like the MCU is definitely kind of like a decline
Should you find him well,